think we're going live. If anybody can let me know, we'll lighten up here in a minute. I just figured while I was cruising, we might as well get the party started. See if anybody jumps in, let me know the audio's okay. Hope I already had a great day. It's Thursday. We passed the hump day, right? So Evan actually kind of inspired me to I think it's Evan's, is it GDO or Garage Doors service? If he hops on here, he'll have to mention himself in the comments. But he was mentioning something about checking out the competition. And so I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit because I was thinking about it. And I remember when I first started out, you know, I was pretty heavy into it. Always wanted to make sure our prices were most of the time cheaper. And I think Evan was saying something about possibly making sure his aren't too low. Like he thinks his is the lowest. And so there's some little tricks you can do to kind of sneak your way in there. We'll hop in here we'll hop in the old shop for a second. We'll get some light. I also, if anybody reminds me, we'll see if anybody watches the live or the beginning. If anybody's got the beginning, what I'll do, if you want, I did get an Amazon delivery that I will be willing to share. And also, if you're cruising through or whatever, if you don't mind, hit the like button. Just helps bring more people. Wakes up the algos for YouTube. I don't get any billions of dollars. Don't worry. I'll start getting things set up here though. And if you guys want to, you're more than welcome always on the lives. You're always more than welcome to ask questions, even if it seems off topic. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, because that's what I'm here for. Your boy Uncle Dave is here. He's here for you. You start getting employees, right? I got one of these a long time ago. Lockbox, because when you have service vehicles, problem is if somebody smashes through this glass, you can lock this up. Got rogue employees, all that good stuff. It's not really good stuff, but it's just one of those things. Hey, we got one like too. One like. I love it. I love it. Let me grab some more gear here and we'll get started on some of this stuff. Beautiful night out, beautiful weather. It's a shame that winter's coming. What's Rod got? I see Rod's got something there. Oh, what's Rod saying? Oh, it went away. It got redirected, something like that. It says on there. Now 2 likes. Holy cow, man! We're just blowing up. So anyways, keep things moving along here a little bit because I appreciate it. Like I said, we got 2 likes. We're doing great. So for one, I was going to bring the flip phone, right? I was going to bring the flip phone, but I got this. I got my old, I don't know what this is. I think it's Samsung. Use it for backup, blah, blah, blah. What I recommend is what you can do, and it's not that cheap, or it's actually really cheap. Go down to your Family Dollar, your Dollar General, because I know y'all have those. Everybody's got those, like Walmart. And go down there, and you can buy a burner phone if you want. And what's nice about them is you can put like a certain amount of money on them. So you can, what the heck is going on with this thing? Why is this light green? Never ever experienced that. It's like it's locked open. It's supposed to be red. Hopefully this thing ain't in free mode. It's busted on me. I don't know. So we got these automatic strikers. I don't know. So anywho, go to the Dollar General, Family Dollar, whatever, Walmart, whatever, and get yourself a burner phone, which is you can pay for the minutes. So you can buy it. I don't think there's anything to activate it. It's just when you put the minutes on there, you can buy like a 15-minute plan. You buy 20-minute, an hour, right? And they're kind of nice. They're kind of nice to have, honestly, just for certain occasions. I've had them too, where like my phone would quit working, and my burner phone would work. But you buy your burner phone. It's not very much money. You can call around your competition if you want. Call around, ask, say, hey, I'm looking for a price on whatever you want looking for, or what's a service call fee? I'm looking for my mom. I'm out of I'm not in town. I'm out of town. You know what I mean? You can ask those certain questions, and then you can kind of find and kind of gauge off of that. Now, I mean, to be honest, it's always one of those things, right? One thing leads to another, right? Like now, I look at our overhead, whatever. I could kind of care less, you know what I mean? Because our prices are what they are, and our customers are willing to pay it. And we're actually, I believe, we're the highest. We're the highest in town, compared to most. So, anywho, let me check out the comments here. Trying to get my little pad set up here. Let's make sure that looks all right. What's Rod got? Rod's got 2 likes. That's right. DB, I will find you. You will find me? Go ahead. There's plenty of people. I'm in jail. I'm in Facebook jail. Nobody find me no more. What's Rob? Do you use a CRM? Great question. I see a lot of clipboards on the wall. Yes. So this is how I originally started, right? Let me count. It's been a while since we used it. We had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I believe it was like a Saturday. Might have had a Sunday even. But what we did is then we had these might have been backups. And when you're small, starting out, hey, we got 6 likes too. Thank you for the likes, you guys. This worked great, right? This worked great. Running about 4 or 5, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 guys at the time. We were doing residential, but this right here made my life a lot easier to some degree, right? When I could handle it. Because this is actually more or less like, this was back when we first got in here. I was at the helm of the ship, and yeah. It just worked out great because I could set things up. I could rearrange over until another day if a customer called. Then it worked good for the secretary. The secretary kind of took over. And then as we've evolved over the years and we work remotely, everything is done through Jobber. And Jobber has been super great. I got to think. I'm going to text away real quick while I'm so if I'm just kind of staring off, right, I freeze. Maybe you can still hear me not. I need to text, because I don't think we got anything here that'll tell me that software that we used to use, because there's a horrible software out there that would tell people never to use. So hang on, just stay tight. Like I said, did I freeze? Could you hear me? I'm back. I'm sorry. I wanted to see if I could dig it up, because I got to think of the name, because it was a horrible CRM system. Horrible. And they did us so wrong. Well, Tanner, exactly. You get what you pay for. That's right, Tanner. What's up, Tanner? Hope you're doing good. You staying busy? I know you got plenty of stuff to do. Busy, busy, busy. Busy, busy. Busy, busy, busy man. Can we find a plug? Yeah, there's kind of a plug. But no, the works really good. It's cheap. We used to do so we got kind of, I don't know if we got lazy or got cheap. But we ended up using a system like this, right? And then it was a carbon copy. I don't think we got any more carbon copies. If they are, they're far and few. Well, one thing I learned with the carbon copies is you had to, we used to keep them out here in the old shop in a box, but I think they got all used up, and then we just started copying them. Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Let me just take a look, see if there's any that are still sitting up here that are carbon copy ones. Man, it's toasty in here today too. No, I don't see none. But anyways, I think it was a 3-sheet. We might even had a 4-sheet carbon copy at one time. And what I found, what I would start doing, is I would actually start giving the customer the top copy. So that way they had a really good handwritten one. Because sometimes the carbon ones didn't work that good, depending on the pen you were using, the press, how much you pressed on them. So I'd give the customer the top copy. I could typically read, I could see the imprints, and I knew what I was writing down roughly. So I would, have my copy for ordering. But the thing is what you got to remember is with the CRM, right? What's beautiful about that stuff nowadays, especially if you're trying to grow, you can take pictures. The pictures can be uploaded, and all the information is what I love about it. It's like it's all integrated. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all there for everybody. So it could be your wife, it could be your secretary, it could be multiple secretaries, it could be employees. But it's there. That's the beautiful part. It's there. It's there, and we don't give a care. Let's see if I got something in here. Not seeing it right off the top of my head. So we got to get plugged in though, because we are going to run out of juicy. If we don't, let's go down. Perfect. And that is on the auto. So what else out there? Anything else? Oh, so your competition, right? If you don't want to go through that, headache too, what you can also do is you can actually use like a parent, like your mom's or your dad's or grandpa, or I don't know if I do like the older couple, the grandpas and that, because if they call back or something, they're going to be all goofy. But you can use them, right? And what you can do, you can call on that phone, right? So you just call, say, hey, I'm looking for a general, but always remember, depending on the situation, if the person doesn't understand, whoever's using the phone, just remember that they might not, they might call back your competition, depending on what kind of place it is. So, but like I said, for the most part, if you feel comfortable with the numbers that you're making, that's really, that's such a skewed thing, because your overhead is so much different, like even like here at Affordable, the numbers are so much different for everybody, right? Vehicles, travel, distance. If you live in the suburbs, you live in a rural area, there's so many demographics to it, residential, all that kind of stuff. Like Affordable. They can't compete with me, the Trunk Slammer Dave, with the box stores. They can't do it. No, they can't even keep up. They just can't even keep up. They don't know what to do with themselves. Just something. Let's get a tripod going here. I got an Amazon thing I wanted to show you guys. Hoorah! Exactly. It says, so what's Rob got? So I'm just getting started and tried House Call Pro. Oh no. Rod, why? Why didn't you come talk to Uncle Dave or Papa Tony or anybody? Tanner, Rusty, anybody. You can't do the House Call Pro. You just can't do it. Just can't do it, because now you're locked in. Are you liking it? Is it working great? Are you making millions? I've never had good experience with them. Now, I can't say I've used low, baby. I can't say I've used, I can't say I used a house call Pro, but I've used I've used Home Advisor. I have used Angie's List. And normally when you get locked in, it's not good. It's just not good. No good, no good. You know what I mean? Like, they are there to suck your money. I think they give you false leads. I think they, like, just to give you an idea, right? Just to give you an idea. Hey, and I appreciate it, you guys. We got 7 likes. Like I said, just helps push the algo. It brings, if you're just cruising through, hit the like button. Just helps everything out. Brings more people in. Great people, like some of our people, Rusty, Tanner. We got Eric. We got Freeze. We got, you know, all these different other guys that are really good, really smart people, smarter than me, which is good. And but the thing is, oh man, I feel better already. I feel better already. All right. So Rod said I didn't know they offered this. I didn't know they offered a 15-day trial and then you canceled. Thank baby Jesus. Because they're no good, man. They're no good. Those places, if I went back to a younger man, right? And I was to ever do that. Like, if I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this. We're really slow. I'm really desperate. I really want to get some business. I need something. I sure as heck would get me, I don't know what you want to quite call it, but a burner credit card, a credit card that only has one account, which would be theirs, or 2, maybe Angie's and Home Advisor or Home Pro, whatever. You know what I mean? And that way it's ready to go, man. And I guess I would do 1. Now, see, there was a guy on the internet, and I forget what it's called, but he used to be able to go online and you could set up, you got to give like 1 account. I think you got to pay a little bit of a fee. So it's more like if you got multiple accounts. But he would literally assign credit cards. I don't think he had the physical cards, but they were online. He would assign the credit cards to an account. And what was great about that is he could turn them off. So he could literally go online and he could turn them off, and like, no more money for them. And that was great. That was awesome. I thought that's pretty sweet, because man, once these people get your credit card, they are a nightmare. They want you to have it signed and this and that. I mean, I've had this happen many times in business. So take it from Uncle Dave. If you got something that seems suspicious, you're uncertain about, and you got a credit card that tons of things are signed up to, right? You got your, like, it's going through, let's say, Service Spring, and like Wayne Dalton, Clopay, whatever. Don't use that credit card. You know what I mean? Use one like, I don't know if they would quite, if you could, I'm assuming you could go to like Walmart or something and get those what are they, reusable or refundable ones that you put money on. You could do something like that, but I would do that before I'd ever give them my regular credit card again, because those places will murder you, Oh, so you got a CRM. Okay, sorry, I was off. Well, it's still good to talk about this because this is very important stuff. Okay, so House Call Pro. Okay. See, so Rod, can you tell me that does House Call Pro let you pay monthly with no no hiddens? Like, you can cancel at any time. Does House Pro do that? House Call Pro CRM allow you, or are they going to make you pay 6 months or a year? That's what I'd like to know. Because here's the thing, I don't know if Jobber is still doing that, but this has been my spidey senses, right? My spidey senses are that if a company, kind of whoever it is in a sense, right? If a company has a good enough product, service, they're not afraid of losing you. You know what I mean? Like, they provide such a good service and product that you can cancel us anytime if you don't like us. And that's what got me on to Jobber. I like that, because the other place, I don't know, let me check if, let me jump up. I've seen nothing from the wife of trying yet. But what I'm getting at is this other company was horrendous. They made us pay like, it was either like $3,500 or $5,000. And that was going to get us like she came through. Smart service. I need to get a shirt. I want to get shirts made. I need to do ones for light bulbs. I need to do one for callbacks. And I need to do one for smart service. That was the company, it sounds like. That was a complete scam. Smart service. Let me double check on this. So, all I can say is basically kiss my hiney, smart service. So we signed up with smart service, which is a CRM system. Basically what it was though is once you pay the $3,500, $5,000, you own it, right? So I was like, oh, that's kind of nice, because like now you don't have to pay no monthly subscription to it in a sense. And those beloved people, they screwed us, man. Their stuff was like, it was so complex. I hated it. It was like using Microsoft Excel spreadsheet or something. It was horrible. And I remember the one guy that was working here, he ended up kind of going rogue or whatever, but he ended up, I remember him telling me going like, he was like, we can't get rid of it. He's like, we got to keep using it. We paid. I'm like, I don't give a crap. I said, college isn't free, buddy. And I said, this was a horrible learning experience. I said, obviously we got to keep paying them, but we got to find somebody else. I said, because I can't use it. We got 2 other guys that are struggling with it. Nobody wants to use it. I said, it's not fun. It's not active. It's not, there's nothing. There's nothing. So we were looking at Jobber and Service Titan. I don't know if there's anybody on this platform that uses Service Titan. I don't know. I hear that it is pretty nice, but it's very, very costly. So Jobber was a really nice mix, you know what I mean, where it got us to be, I like the monthly, right? Any month, baby, I cut them. Didn't like your service, don't like it, Jobber, you're gone. But Jobber's done a really good job. They've done nice updates. They add nice features. It's one of those companies that when you're with, you're like, wow, you're seeing them like improvements. You know what I mean? They're doing the right thing. We were able to start adding pictures to things. I think now we can even do, I think one of them had a talk on the phone with them saying that we can add to like our estimates now, which I thought was really nice, because I know our competition that's really heavy and just all they do is commercial. That's all they do. I'd see some of their bids sometimes, right? And let's say they bid a gate operator, and they would show like the items next to it on the page. Like it would show the gate operator itself. It would show maybe like a keypad, maybe a gooseneck. And I thought, wow, this is really nice to also have pictures. That's super sweet. So something to think about. But Jobber's been really good to us. I really like Jobber. I think Jobber they need to sponsor us. That's what we need. We need a sponsor. Man, I never put a peg on this little door. I want to keep this door open. It's a little bit cooler out. It feels just a little nice. Anything heavier on? Nothing heavier on. Should have put a peg on that one. I probably did it because this one was supposed to be. If you look right there, there's the card reader. What it was supposed to be is people, when they come in the office, they can't get into the shop. That was supposed to be the original. Then I thought about dividing it. Divide it so it was like half cage. So what you do is you bring the product out for some of the guys, the workers, and things like that. So they just, in case you get customers or whatever, they just don't get sticky fingers. So what else? Any questions? Questions. Let them roll. I'm going to sit here and collect the dough. But there is, they get to live for another day. All right. Stop it. I'm just going to start tried home. Tried the house called Pro. That's right. Did I miss anything? I did a 15-day trial. That's pretty nice though. I give, that was one of the things with Service Titan that kind of irritated me. that Service Titan wouldn't give you, they wouldn't give us anything. You know what I mean? And I really tried to try to be like, you know, can we at least just, you know, you think after the like 4th, 5th, 6th call, they'd be like, all right, we know that you're pretty interested. You're not just some fly-by-night person, and you're looking to possibly try it out, and, you know, give us a chance to try it out. I mean, just even for like 2 or 3 days, you know what I mean? Nope. They wanted the money. They wanted the money. I don't really like places like that anymore that just want the money, because most time their service isn't what it's cracked up to be. Or sometimes what you can run into is you run into the problem that you give them the service, right? And they give you the service. It's not good. You know what I mean? And now you're locked in. They make you sign up for a year contract, and, you know, whatever. So we're kind of quiet. Like I said, there's not for much for comments. If you got anything, shoot me a comment. I'll read it off. Like I said, we got 7 likes. I think I'm gonna grab. Where am I gonna do it? I think I'm gonna grab the box. I got a box of goodies. We're gonna check it out. It's nothing spectacular, but it is from the Amazon. It's from the Amazon. And I wanted to check it out. I was gonna do a little video on it. I want to check it out. But what I'm getting at is, you're right here, aren't you? Here you are. There you are. I want to check out these springs. And I want to know if you guys have had any problems from these springs. These ones came from, these are going to be from Amazon. So they come with windy bars and a pair of gloves. So hold on one second. Let me grab them. Couldn't beat the price. That was the problem. I couldn't beat the price. I just had to check them out for myself, right? I think it was $47 shipped, free shipping. Let's grab a knife. But I wanted to check them out. I wanted to see, what they were like. So, we shall check them out together. Open them up. See what kind of, the fact that they give, like, this is probably the future. This is what I think about, right? This is probably the future right here. Like, your customers out there, even including mine, can actually get garage door springs delivered to their house. Now, obviously we all know the disclaimer is garage doors can kill you. Always use a trained professional. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should bring you guys up. Should I bring you guys up? Let's bring you guys up a little bit here. There we go. There we go. How you liking that? That feel a little better for you? You don't feel so alone? Hey, by the way, too, like I said, don't forget to hit the like button if you're cruising through. Ooh, look at this. Nice packaging. I don't know, guys. They look pretty good to me. They look pretty good to me. So Rusty was saying that they're doing something with the clope. I don't know if anybody else can validate this, but they're putting, like, in the cone. Let me see if I can just make sure there's no. But it's like they're putting like a hollow spot right here, like they're grinding. I'm sorry, not paying attention. They're grinding it out, almost like they have less material on here. And then they actually want that, like, almost that tip, the tip. They want the tip dipped in there, right, into that groove. Pretty weird. Does that screws feel good? Let's check this out. Let's see if they got the nipples or the little divots on the end like they're supposed to. Yeah. I've always been told that's the key right there. If they don't have that little dimple, see if I can get to focus better. So somebody that's out there that's new, It's not showing up very good. Let's try it again. See how it has that dimple? It's not just a regular flat screw. I was always told that's what makes the magic happen. That's what bites down on a shaft. So if you're a greenhorn like me one time, I thought a bolt is a bolt. I'll just throw another bolt because you lose one of these. So what I've always done is I've actually always kept these on the truck. Keep these on the truck, take them out of a few. That's why it's nice too to also just have spare springs on, you know, for residential, resis, because you can always steal these. And then you just got to remember to put them back on. But those look good. Those look good. These were, they're not a standard size. So, let's take a look here. It goes back in there. Let me just double check, make sure they didn't chip us out somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Nope, same. Tanner got there. Mr. Tanner. Oh, Tanner, too. Good news. The wife said, I need some cowboy boots. I said, well, I got a couple screenshots, I said, from you. I said, he knows what the good ones are. She's like, oh, yeah? Like, how much? I said, we're not going to discuss that. Tanner, was Clopay is getting cheaper and cheaper. We are putting in a 27 by 12 Clopay door for our local hospital. Doors provided from builder, and the bottom brackets are the size of residential. I do not feel good about putting them on, but contact Clopay and they say they are the right ones for the application. Isn't that weird? Dude, that's weird. That's even a bigger door than what I did. That's 27 by 12. I think we were doing 14 by 14s. We're doing 14 by 14 sandwich doors. And they had, gosh, I think they had like 4 foot, 3 or 4 foot of high lift in them. And they sent, like what you're saying, Tanner, they sent the ones, I got a video out there about it. I think I labeled it the Clopay is trying to kill my customers or something like that. And I was always told through Wayne Dalton one time that if you go with high lift, you know, you're going with a jack shaft opener basically, that it's got to have the pin kind, right? It can't have the buttons. It's got to have the pin kind. And so I changed all the brackets. We got the big heavy commercial ones that we carry. So I ended up switching them all out. I know the secretary got with them. I don't know if they ever got replenished for them. But it was like the same thing that you're saying. It was like the little residential ones. And I was just like, oh, man, somebody screwed this order up. And it turned out to be, so I mean, I went through and opened up the other hardware box. Like, this one's got to be a mistake. Went to the next one, because I think we had 1, 2, 3, I think 4. I think we had 5 doors on that job site. They were all the same. And I thought, man, I was like, I can't put... You know how it is. If that door gets hung up on something, a broom, something gets screwed up, it's not good. It looks like, is that Tanner sending me a bracket? Let me check it out real quick. I'm not going nowhere. Well, hey, you know what? I looked at Tanner's picture there. Those do look pretty small. I'm not gonna lie. Even though they got the pins. Must be something here. So Tanner's at least got the pins, right? The pins that go through for holding the cable. His are small, like this almost. They're small. And that's a big door, 27 by... I forgot already. 27 by 12, wasn't it? Yeah, 27 by 12. Now, on a 14 by 14, I'm not seeing the ones. I just wanted to kind of explain this for any of the new guys that are kind of like, what is he talking about? So that one has... it's right here. It had the buttons on it, like this. Where like your cable just buttons onto it instead of pinning to it, like this one. And I was like, I'm not doing that on a commercial door. I was like, with a jack shaft, if that door gets caught, and then that door would kick or whatever, and it pops that button off, which I've seen it like once or twice. But it could happen. And then if that door, for whatever reason, you know, turns into a guillotine, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. It's not safe. So that bracket that Tanner sent me though was like half the size of the bottom bracket. That was pretty, I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty pathetic. Pretty pathetic. But thanks for sharing that, Tanner, because that's interesting. Like I said, ooh, this one I can hear it. Oh, the paint. Oh yeah. Yep, the paint on this one. So here's an Amazon. I don't know who was making them for them. The finish on here looks pretty good, actually. Like, I don't know who's doing this. It's got the numbers on it, which is kind of nice. I don't see a continuous line like you would see through Service Spring. 2432, 28, right hand. It's got the green, but it feels like it's not maybe oiled. Like it's kind of got a weird, I don't know, it feels stiff compared to the ones from Service Spring. Let's check out what else. Should be two of them. Package nice though. I like the fact they got this around it. I mean, they did the extra packaging. Pretty nice. Maybe we'll find a card in here, because you know how sometimes these Amazon people are. I don't blame them. Here we go again. Let's see. Oh yeah, she's stuck. She's stuck. She might be a little. She's definitely gonna need some oil. I don't see nothing wrong with them. We'll see how long they last. I'm doing them for a customer that basically raised me. So if they go bad, I'll be the first to hear about it. So that's why I bought them. Holy shnikes, here you go. Here you go. Here's the moneymaker. Oh boy. Oh boy. Garage door torsion spring user manual. Disclaimer. This manual is for purposes of do not attempt to install torsion springs yourself unless you have the proper tools, reasonable mechanical aptitude, is it? Experience and arm strength. You got to have the arm strength, or you got to get yourself a sure winder or a spring turner. Tools required. Interesting. This is pretty nice though. Oh, look. I've been doing it wrong all my life. They actually show they got the vice grips. That's not how I do it. Attach springs to center bearings. Convert. Interesting. Does anybody do it the way I do it, wind the springs? Do you wind the spring, let the winding bar rest, set your set screws, and then go on to your other ones? I don't ever use, I can't say ever, because I do on the easy set. I use vice grips. But most of the guys that work here use, ooh, I don't remember this going to be included. That's nice. Dang, look at that. Give you a center bearing. Nice. All right. Maybe I should do a free giveaway of these. I don't think anybody's going to want them. These are like my, what you use like in a freezer. You can get a pair of gloves. Dang, I feel like a professional now. It's got to be this yellow. Look at that. Look at that. I can feel like I can conquer the world. And this is what I really wanted. I've never had winding bars. Oh, yeah. The grip feels good, baby. Heck yeah, baby. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, ooh. And it's got a nice little taper to it. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, yeah. They'll probably bend. But look at that. Dang, it's almost like telling you which end to, you got to stick in there. You can't do the rubber side. Two of them. Not even one. See if they... that sounds about right. Those sound like they'll work. Look at that. There you go. Basically for about $50. I don't know how you can beat it. We'll see if obviously the last. What is this? Oh, so this is what the colors. I never used the colors. I didn't even know this existed. I never paid attention. 207, 218, 225. These are almost basically the standard. I don't think they have links on them though. These are kind of the standard size I would carry on the truck. How to measure a torsion spring. Oh, look at all the goodies. It comes with that. Winding, gloves. Yeah. User. Not bad, man. Like I said, for some of the newbies out there, don't be telling me, I don't know what to do. Dude, I'm telling you what to do. You got stuff that can come right to your doorstep. Get on it. Get out there. Trying to bring it phone up without tipping it. What's Tanner got? He says, yeah, he says, and the whole door is double end style, double hinges, 3-inch. Yep, I figured with that big old bracket on there. And rollers. And that dinky bottom bracket, it does not have the footprint I would like to see. Anything over 14.4 comes with double style bottom brackets on my doors. Oh, man, I'm telling you. There's something else too funny that the guys have always told me. I don't recall it so much, but there was something about the track on the commercial stuff. There's something weird about how the commercial track is on the Clopay. And so for like us around here, just to give you just to get a little story, you know what I mean? Just to entertain in a sense. The Clopay, our one driver was always a super on the spot. You know what I mean? Super good guy to help unload. The Clopay around here was always nice for, they'd only come every 2 weeks in our area. So that was a little bit of a pitfall. Driver was always good. Truck was always nice. The way they always had their stuff laid out in their trucks was really nice. It was always clean, organized. It looked very professional. Most of the time, stuff doesn't come in damaged. But Clopay's got some weird, like I said, when I think it was Rusty, he sent me that thing with the cone, like their hog and out spot, and he says the problem is it skips over that, and then it wants to overturn. Stay there. It wants to overturn because there's a hogged out spot right here on the cone part. This part you can't see it because this would be over it, but it wants to make this spin into the the bracket. It doesn't want to bite. So from what I understand, the way Rusty was kind of explaining it, it's almost like you got to take this, the nipple part and bend it into that like you would on a commercial door. So that's a little weird. And I was like, I was trying to be like, why is that? Like, what's your theory behind it? Why are they doing that? And he said something about, he says, I think they're saving, they're saving that material, makes these lighter. It saves them, a half a penny, basically, is from the way I understand it. So that's a real bummer. I don't like seeing stuff like that happen. And that's just kind of a real pitfall. And then obviously like with Tanner, with the bottom brackets, that ain't cool, man. That's not cool. That's not cool. There's nothing worse, I think, than getting out to the job and not having exactly what you need. You know what I mean? When I do installs, that is one of my biggest pet peeves. And I don't know what changed. I think we were pretty heavy in Wayne Dalton at that time. And something changed, right? I used to have, out here in the shop, I used to have a 55-gallon drum halfway full with lag bolts. And I remember eventually I was like, this thing's getting so full, I don't think I'll ever be able to lift it and move it, if it gets any fuller. So I remember I went and dumped it in the scrap hopper because we were drowning in them. I kicked myself in the butt because something changed over the years, and we don't get the legs like that anymore. So now we have to buy lag bolts, the ones that go in the wood. And I'm like, dang, why did I ever throw that 55, or scrap the 55-gallon drum of them? And hey, I appreciate it, guys. We're up to 8 likes. If you don't mind, hit the like button. Just helps bring more people in. It's more fun. People with ideas, starting garage doors, all that good stuff. So if you wouldn't mind, just hit the like button. I would appreciate it. So anywho, but these manufacturers, I'm still sometimes short on pointy bolts or the screws. I'm still short on self-tappers sometimes. Track bolts is another one. It gets irritating. You know what I mean? It's like I would always rather have more than not enough. And that's one of them right there. I mean, Tanner's got a perfect example, right? A bottom bracket. I can't replicate, man. I can't fabricate that. I don't have a fabricator next to me. You know, when you're there, you got a crew of guys, man, it's time to go. It's time to go. We got to go. You know what I mean? It's not, oh, you know what? Guess what, guys? Today, we're going to take today off. We're all here. I got to go get some bottom brackets made up, and I'm going to take it to my fabricator, and he says it's going to be about 2 weeks. You know, no, that's not how it works. We got to power through it. We got to figure something out. Maybe we still don't feel comfortable about it. Maybe we got to come back, which sucks. You know, now we're making this thing look like Swiss cheese. Every time you're messing with stuff, it always gets more brittle, and it's not brittle, but it gets more just Swiss cheese. You know what I mean? It's just not pretty. You know what I mean? And it's more work. It's time that was not, factored into the job. The variables. Oh, the variables. What's Tanner got? Tanner says, yeah, and my mom works at the hospital has forever, so they all know me, and if anything happens, it makes me look bad. Ooh, yikes. But the builder said, I addressed it, and it's emailed records, so I'm not at fault. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt that. You know, and here's like this is just my off the brain type of thought, you know. I remember years back, a place out in Grand Rapids, Michigan. They had these doors. I always watched these doors, right? And they would actually suck up into each other. It's like one door would go up the section. They were thick doors. I don't know what model they are or anything. They're just big, bulky, and they have cables. And one would hit the other door, and it's like a catch system. And one, because one stacked outside, so it would go, clunk, clunk, and it would the whole thing. And I remember back when I was living at my old house and stuff, and I'm watching the news, and I remember on the news they said there was a person killed by garage door. And so I was like, sitting there kind of eating my dinner, and it's like, oh, you got my attention. And I remember watching it. It was in Grand Rapids, and I thought, well, we obviously, none of the technicians here, myself, nobody touched it. Nobody's been there. And I just went, oh my gosh. I went, somebody died. And I just thought, and that's the stuff that always puts fear in me, that, what we all do. That's why I've always been really cautious with the guys about, you need to do a thorough job. You got to be really paying attention, right? Because the way I always see it, no matter what, especially when you're doing like fire doors, garage doors, it could even be the residential doors, right? Your name is on it. And that's the hardest part sometimes with running a garage door business, is especially when you got employees. They're gonna be right here. Mr. Doopson, can we get an interview? You want to talk? That's the real world. You know what I mean? That's not fun. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. So it's one of those things we always have to be really conscious about, because everything we touch, like we're the end installer, right? And that's why I'm always like, I learned it from Lowe's, right? Lowe's taught me when they said that, when I went to their seminar, they would say, they go, they just got their deck replaced, they just got their roof done, and now they're getting their garage door done. You show up, but you're the last contractor to be there. You leave, there's a puddle of oil in the driveway. Brand new driveway. who's the first one? The first one's the last person here, right? Because maybe they just didn't see it. And it could have been from the roofer. It could have been from the deck guy. But if they would have seen you, right? If the homeowner, maybe the wife, whoever, would have seen you putting cardboard under your vehicle and be like, that's kind of strange. You know what I mean? But at least he's trying. Or the best is really, but nobody wants to do it because who wants to walk that far? Typically, in most situations, you park on the road, you're off the hook. So I always remember that due diligence stuff, you know, from Lowe's, because they just pounded that in your head. And I always thought that was a good thing because I now I look at this stuff and I go, I can see why, you know, sometimes the one company, the guy I've talked to, and he said, you know, he goes, this is why I sell things, you know, because he literally told me when I was young getting into this, he told me, he says, you you got to remember, Dave, he says, in your garage door business, he says, everything, and he goes, I mean everything, he goes, your name is on it. He says, not your worker, not your wife, you. He says, they are going to come to you, you know, and it's like, yowzas, you know, where for him, he sells product, right? And if he sells product, I didn't install it, right? I didn't install it. I furnished it. Went out the door, you know, per the manufacturer's inspection. That's what they engineered. So when I send this spring out the door, goes out the door and it explodes because the guy put 20 turns on it and it's only supposed to take 7 or 8, and he did it the wrong way. Don't come after me. Don't come after me. He had the warning. There's a warning, you know, disclaimer. There was a disclaimer in there. Sorry, Judge. I don't know. It told him that he needed to have the what does it says? Experience, the aptitude, reasonable torsions, experience and arm. You have to have the arm strength. It says right there. He has to have the arm strength. He obviously didn't read. You know what I'm saying? This is kind of, I get goofy about it. But like I said, you know, it is what it is. We just all have to use our best judgment per the engineer. Da, da, da. Jets, he says, Tanner, I've used an upside down left hand flat leaf and a long stem roller before. Ooh. Tanner says, and it's all concrete block. So hammer drill everything in TapCon. Oh, man, I feel I'm so happy. I always love having Tanner here because he's got such. I mean, I feel for him, man. I can already smell the concrete dust. Those aren't fun jobs, man. Those are just not fun jobs. You know, because as far as I'm concerned, my experience, anyways, my best experience is always going into wood. Wood is so forgiving. It's soft, it's pliable. You can move your track around if something's starting to get a little wonky. But when it comes to TapCons, and especially block, it's like every time you only get like almost like one shot. You know how it is. Tanner knows how it is. You shoot it in there and it's like, please be good. No have to movie because you know how it is. You start running that thing and it starts going. Uh-oh. It's not grabbing anymore. Do I leave it? Do I? It's just the middle. It's okay. One more above will get it tight. You know what I mean? It gets to be goofy. And hey, I appreciate it too. We got 10 likes, so thank you guys for likes for what is a Thursday night. Da-da-da-da. Evan, he says, sorry, I'm late. That's all right. We got places for those late ones. Tardy. It's called detention. It's all good. Evan says, I changed out an 882 LMW, and I was told I didn't charge enough. Only charged them 20 for the service call and 50 for the button. Well, you know, you could always, it's a good learning opportunity, you know. Like I said, you know, I never look at it as a bad experience, you know what I mean? Because, you know, for the most part, it's a learning experience. And like I said, you can go spend hundreds to thousands of dollars to go to college and get out and then still work at McDonald's. Just how it goes. So, hey, you at least got experience. Maybe didn't make as much. You know, as long as you can normally cover the gas, maybe buy a Happy Meal. Joking, and you know, you move on. You know what I mean? There's been a lot of jobs. There's been a lot of jobs that Uncle Dave has done really good, and some that's been not so good. You know, like, oh, we lost on this one. This one was under. Tanner says, yeah, CHI doors actually sends those with bigger doors as okay, as a roller brace for the bottom bracket. My problem is not the roller, it's the cable tension and the size of the bracket holding the door. Yeah, so I'm assuming, like, you know, Tanner, he sent me a picture. I wish I could show you guys, but I don't have a way. So what it is, you know, it's not big. It's small. It's kind of skinny, you know. So he probably wants something a little more beefier, heavier duty, takes up more of the span of it, you know, maybe so it's not putting so much pressure right in the corner. Bigger. Bigger is better. Tanner says it's just not enough, in my opinion, to hold the door even. If you put 6 screws in it, yeah, it's just not a big surface area. That's just a few screws in a big area, not in a big area. Yeah, I get it, man. It's like I said, it's one of those things. It's like that whole defeat thing. It's not fun, man. I wish it's like I always want to get, like, I want to pull the engineer out. I'd be like, can I get like the direct phone number to the engineer and go, what in the flippy flops are you thinking with this? Like, why would you ever give me this small bracket? Did you not like re-engineer this door? Now, I don't know if this is 100% true or not. I know that Josh was telling me at one point that, I know a lot of you guys don't use Horman, but he said that Horman's actually technically was originally, or is originally, like an engineered company. And I kind of found that interesting because I kind of thought, well, you know, I can't ever really remember any of the Horman doors being really off. But I feel like I remember a few Clopes not being really that good on for their springs for engineering and stuff like that. Like, they just, and like I said, it's one of those things when you're there in the heat of the moment. I mean, that's why, like, a lot of these jobs, a lot of these garage jobs, these big commercial ones, Uncle Dave, hey, we got 11 likes too. Thank you for the likes. So Uncle Dave would literally, so this is how normally a garage door would go for me, commercial, all right? Doors come in. You have to know when the doors are coming in, right? When they coming in. They come in tomorrow, they come in the next day. How are we going to get them there? Blah, blah, blah. We're going to have them dropped off on site, which is always, depending how big the job is, depending on, you know, like, especially like when you're doing new construction, it's really hard, right? Because you do new construction, you don't know if the building is going to be there, if they're going to have a roof. And I mean, then they touch your stuff 100 times, right? They move the crap, all this other stuff. So then is it like, do you rent a trailer? Do you put a trailer out there and put a tarp over them, depending on the location? You know, is it people gonna, is it gonna get vandalized? People gonna steal it? All these variables, right? So then you decide to have them dropped off at your shop, right? No, we're just gonna go with dropped off at your shop. So now it turns into, what are you gonna put them on? Because you really don't want to put them like in your shop, right? Because that's more handling, that's more chances for damage. They're gonna go out within a week or two. So you get a trailer, right? You got a flatbed trailer, whatever you use. You got them dropped off. You put them on the trailer. Sweet, good. Most of the time, I knew the job was going to be normally like if we're going to do it the next day or 2 days out, I would literally, I did this a lot, a lot. I would literally drive out there with the truck, with the trailer. I'd go out there with my kids. I'd go out there most time of time because they weren't really old enough quite yet to really lift and all that. So they'd either just be one or two of them running around. I would go out there with my wife and we would, it all depends. Sometimes it was 6, 7, 10 o'clock, sometimes midnight. We'd be out unloading the doors. And nowadays, even, it's even gotten worse. So you almost need to go out there and then you need to go through everything with a fine tooth comb. And the way I do it the most time, right? I can't do it with the wife. I can't do it with the kids running around and, being monkeys. You got to go through everything, right? And it's like that whole thing. Like I don't encourage the whole smoking cigarette, but I think of it as like smoking a cigarette. You got to walk around or a cigar, and you're sitting there and you're looking at everything and you're sitting there and you go, okay, we got all the struts, count the struts. And a lot of times what we had to do, which worked out really good for us, is if the building was big enough and you always, how it is, right? You're always playing the game, right? Is electrician going to be in this area? Is water suppression going to be in this area? Is the painter going to be in this area? You'd have to get the materials set up in the right spot. But if you can get them set close to the doors, it worked a lot better because then you could see everything. But when it comes off a truck, when you got it on your trailer, it's just a big blah. You know what I mean? It's just a bunch of metal and stuff. I mean, it's hard to count everything and see everything. So I had to always go there and I'd have to get everything staged, right? And then that way too, it was ready for the guys. So when the guys would come, the next day or whatever, we'd bring, 3, 4 guys, we could just rock it out. And hey, I appreciate it. We got 12 likes. Thank you for the likes, you guys. If you don't mind, hit the like button. Let me check into the comments here. I meant it was a family friend, but yeah, I'm thinking maybe up it a bit. Okay, I'll probably still go out, figure out what the big leagues are charging without telling them. He says I'm stealing their business. You don't even have to worry about it, Evan. Like I said, it's one of those things. It just all depends on how hungry, you are, because it's really weird. So I want to tell Evan this, right? Because this is just something that, and this is not to be rude, disrespectful, or anything. This kind of gets me excited, right? Because it was just one of those things. I look at it when I was young. I think it's kind of young and dumb and naive, something kind of like that. And there's not bad, right? It's a whole ecosystem, right? This whole thing's an ecosystem. So when I first started out, when I was doing the garage doors, just a greenhorn, back in 2006, right? I started doing 24-hour service, baby. And I would answer that phone. It didn't matter if it was 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, pretty much till when I went to bed, which my normal hours are like midnight to 4 is when I'm sleeping. You know what I mean? The rest of the time I'm up. I don't sleep much. So I'd be answering that phone, boom, 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 right? And I got so many residential people, so many. And now, mind you, we have 4 or 5, the big dogs in the area. Been in business for years and years and years. And I remember like these customers were just like, oh my gosh, somebody answered the phone. I mean, they were just like, they were praising me. I come out there, I charge a little extra. I go out there and I just remember telling myself, right, when I was young into this. And so I was telling myself, man, I can't believe these guys aren't answering the phone. These guys are just idiots. Man, these guys are so stupid. If they had somebody answering the phone, they've been in business, they got way more customers than me. They could have so much business. It's unbelievable. And then as time went on, myself included, started realizing you know what? This 24-hour stuff isn't really working so much anymore. Kind of got a wife. I got kids. And they're kind of complicated. Not the kids and wife. I love them. They're great. These customers. These customers are calling me. I'm eating dinner. I want to go out. I want to go to the casino. I want to go to the beach. I want to go up to the trailer. I want to go hunting. They're kind of interrupting they're not getting the boundaries. The boundaries are, and then I started kind of going from 24 hours to, just normal hours, right? We don't do 24 hours anymore. And then it started turning into, you know what? We don't do this. We're not doing this emergency stuff anymore. Like the weekends. We still would offer some weekends and that. But I'm telling you, if you want to make some money, there is opportunities there. You know what I mean? But you got to be slick Willy on the phone. You know what I mean? You got to be whoop, whoop. They want to talk to somebody. Otherwise they leave a voicemail. They've called 3 other people. By the time you tally up what you got to do, right? Especially if you're at a family event or something like that. By the time you get out there, it's 2 hours later. You show up and they're like, oh, we already, Johnny down the road, Johnny's Garage Door Service, he already took care of us. We're all set. And you're like, what? Excuse me? I just left a family event. Like I was ready just to start tipping a few. And so, like I said, I'm glad Evan brought it up. I love questions like that. I just try to give you guys basically some of the gray hair experience from Uncle Dave that for us, right? I've said it before, we got a lot of good commercial customers. We don't have to fight that hard. And the other stuff is like petty stuff. It's weird how your levels change over the years. It's not that we don't want to take care of them. But we focus on not letting people waste our time, right? Because what I've noticed, just with myself anyways, that the older you get, right? Like what am I, 41? I'm 41, I believe. 41 years old. You guys are seeing the same stuff I'm seeing. You see some of the country singers, you see all these people, they're passing away. Some of them are in their 60s. Some are younger. Some are older. But, your time is limited. You know what I mean? So you look at, you go, I'd rather take the low-hanging good fruit, than try to work my way through the jungle. You know what I mean? It's like that saying, right? I don't buy green bananas anymore. I make sure they're ripe because I don't know if tomorrow's going to come. So it's just something I want to put in perspective. I just want to put perspective on it. Oh, Tanner's tearing it up. He's in there. Appreciate it. I thought I'd seen something goofy happen in there. I just didn't get to it. So thank you for that, Tanner. Tanner's got residential call depending established you are is 40 to 80. Commercial is 100 to 150 just to show up after an hour. I charge more trip charge depending on distance, and I put some on. If I bring a lift. I think the girl said 25 to 30 for a lift. Mine says 13. Hoorah. Thank you guys for the likes. Yeah, so I think actually Tanner's prices they're low for like what we charge. And something that can help you out, honestly, is always have yourself or the secretary ask if there's a lift, right? Because technically, if you can use their lift, I'd always use their lift, right? Especially you don't want to haul your lift. You know what I mean? You don't want to haul your lift unless you have to. Your lift has got tires and bearings and the motor and the batteries and then God forbid an accident. And, there was a guy here in town, which is kind of weird how they did it. But anywho, the scissor lift, he got into a car accident. The scissor lift came basically off the trailer and killed him. And you know what I mean? You just, anytime you can use somebody else's lift, do it. Especially unless it's like a pile of junk or something, See, that's why I kind of, like I said, with the commercial, we know our commercial customers. We know what they have for equipment. We know what they expect, what we can do, what we can't do, safety stuff, all that kind of stuff. It's just nice. It takes out a lot of the surprises. Residential can be also eliminated to some degree, right? Like I said, with pictures, things of that nature. But like I said, there's always, like I said, you gotta remember you're always coming from somebody else's pocket. I think we've discussed it. I think even Tanner's mentioned it before. The commercial's typically better. There's bigger money into it. Bigger numbers, more profit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I know this, right? It's kind of like I got a fencing buddy, I got a roofing buddy, right? Their numbers are way huger than mine. You know what I mean? So when you're dealing with an opener, garage door opener, it's $150, $200, $250, $300. Your profit margin can only be, but when you're dealing with a roof that's $30, $60, $100,000, the profit margins, more risk, more reward, I guess, But see, like for us, I don't know, Tanner says established UR, he says 40 to 50, or 40 to 80, I'm sorry, commercial is, so like for us, from what I understand, we're basically 120 for residential. It's 120 minimum. That gets you basically an hour. Anything over, we're going to start charging you. But that typically you can get through. You can do preventative maintenance. They might have upped it. It might be 125 now. But otherwise, one of the secretaries is going to correct me on this. It's either 165 or 175, I believe, for commercial. I think the lift is more like $100, or it could be $200, because we used to have a thing, when we used to have to rent a lift, it was like, well, why should we pay for the lift? And the lift was like $200, $240, I think, for a lift to rent it from where we used to rent it from. And their lift was okay, but their trailer really sucked, and it was crummy because then we had to go get it. We were kind of first starting out the commercial because we didn't have the money, or we just didn't know what to do. And I actually bought the upright lift from the rental company because I knew nothing about scissor lifts, absolutely nothing. So I knew this one worked. I knew it fit through man doors. It did the job we needed. I remember, don't tell the owner, but we ended up drilling holes in the bars, the safety bars, which is a big no-no. You don't do that. That's safety stuff. But I drilled holes in it, right? And what I was doing, I don't know if anybody else has done this, maybe Tanner has too. I'd use commercial angle. So I put them on both, both your handrails, right, of the scissor lift. And then I'd let it sit out, about whatever, probably 2 foot. Then that way I could slide my commercial spring on there. And you have to crouch down, right, in the lift, but you could lift the spring up, to get it in the spot to work whatever you had to work without sitting there, 2 guys trying to hold the spring, when you're dealing with a big monster, 6-inch duplex, whatever, you know what I mean? So I drilled holes, and I was like, well, it's not my lift. Well, it ended up being my lift. And then when I bought it, what it was a kind of a kicker, the tax man, I just had up enough money. I think I paid $3,000 for it. I go down there, I got the money, I just saved up enough, man. I'm so excited to get this scissor lift because our life is so much better with a scissor lift. And I go down there, and I remember, I'm like, here you go. And he's like, you got to pay taxes on this, right? And then so it was whatever, 34, I don't know what it was. And I'm like, are you serious? So I had to go scrounge up another little bit of money or pull it out of the account, write him a check, the difference. I was like so bummed. I was like, God darn it, he told me $3,000. And I was thinking, well, since we're basically doing cash, I thought, this guy got me for taxes. And who knows if he's actually going to do the right thing with the tax, or he just pocketed the money. Oh, I was bummed. So Michael, 24-hour emergency service is the worst. People are always in bad mood. He says when their gate doesn't work. Cheers to that. It was really weird. We had the emergency service it just didn't add up for us. You know what I mean? Like every time we offered it, and then it was like, I kind of did it because I thought the commercial customers, like, that's what they expected. Like, we had to be, especially if they're running third shift and stuff like that. But what I kind of found out what the trend was, hey, appreciate the likes. We got 14 likes. The trend was, what I noticed is that typically in commercial, there's macho guys, right? Big macho guys. We got Harley Davidsons, we got big mud trucks. We drink beer on the weekend, right? We can fix anything. And so what they always typically do, they bring a forklift up to it, they cut the cables, blow the springs. That's typical. They bring the door down and go, "We're going home. We going home. We got the door down. Place is secure. We going home." So by the time we would try to get there, and all, like it didn't happen. And even how many times I always preached it, and I was like, "Look, man, it's like you got my direct number. You can call me at 10 o'clock at night. I don't care." And I said, because now you blew the springs up. You know what I mean? Like, oh, there's always a can of worms. It just didn't work out. You know what I mean? I don't know if we had 24-hour service or what the hell I was thinking, but I did one guy one time. I remember I was all the way up in kind of northern Michigan, almost kind of like Big Rapids. I had to go all the way down to Grand Rapids because we did this gate install for a fence guy. And it was for the post office, U.S. Post Office. And they couldn't get the gate like closed a foot. Blizzard. I went up on the nighttime, me and the wife, in a blizzard. I remember my wife calling me, and she's like, "I can't see your taillights." And I'm like, "What?" Of course, that's the night, right? The taillights don't work on the trailer. And it's snowing. It's already hard enough to see. So I literally have to put my hazards on as we're driving. We go down this, there's one area of this road. The only way to get up to this area, that's a really bad hill. We get all the way up there. I got my mom to watch the kids. We're up there, we're working, man. Everything's working out pretty good, except we're in a hell of a blizzard. And the guy what happened is somebody ran into the gate. They were going to go into the gas station. Instead, they had a car accident, whatever, but they slid into the gate, bent it like an L. I put this guy off. He's always been a good customer for a storage unit. I put him off 3-4 days. He's like, can we get this gate at least moved? He's like, I can't plow around it. It's really inconvenient. My customer's that. And I'm like, yeah. So finally, it's nighttime. Let's go. We go up there. I got a forklift on the truck. I'm pulling a long trailer to put the fence in, or the gate into. We get there. We're doing the work right. I get this stinking phone call from the post office. "Hey, our gate won't shut a foot." And I'm like, can you try to disconnect it? "We don't know what to do, but we can't leave until this is closed." And I'm like, well, I'm way up north right now. I did this at nighttime. Like I said, it's 9-10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I did this at nighttime trying to we're so busy right now. I said, dude, it's probably going to be 4 hours before I get there. "That's fine. We get paid overtime." Okay. So now it's yabba dabba do, here we go. So I tell wife, I'm like, we got to get this. So now we can't even go up the one way because now I'm sitting there, right? You guys understand this, right? If you guys understand this, do I don't know, just type in 1 in the comments. Just type 1 that if you understand. So I'm going through a million things. I'm sitting there if we go back this way, the road conditions, and I got to have my hazards on. We're slowing down traffic, and there's really not much traffic out, but it's still the way people drive are idiots. And I'm like, we can't go up that hill. So we go another way, but this other way takes another 20 to 30 minutes to get back, right? And I'm like, I can't chance trying to go up this hill, because if I don't make it up this hill, it's a steep hill, I will jackknife. And if I jackknife in this hill, and then the way the other traffic comes, I will get creamed. I will block the whole road. So now we have to go long distance. We get back. Tanner probably like this. It's one of those nights, right? I had a Ford. I know Tanner, he doesn't like the Fords, but I had a Ford Power Stroke. It's just sitting there just humming, man. And that's like your horse, baby. That's your love, man. You're like, man, we're gonna go do this. We're gonna do this. And this blizzard, trucks is there. Let's go. Haul way out there, locked in 4-wheel drive. You know what I mean? Just get out there. Find out it's a part that I didn't even install. It's on the gate part, which is the fence guy. It's a bracket that broke. I literally grabbed the fence. I just hit the button or something, or I just shoved it. It closes. I'm like, are you guys good? "Oh yeah, that's all we needed." There's 3 grown-ass men here, and you guys couldn't figure out how to push on the gate to get it to shut? Or were you guys more concerned about getting your overtime? You know, but I literally just drove all the way from northern Michigan, like down here, like in a hell of a storm. Like, you know, so like the next day comes, right? I'm already toast. You know what I mean? It's like you come in here, drinking your coffee. Guys come in, oh man, it's pretty bad out there. What we got today? Hopefully not much. You don't know what kind of hell I just went through. You know, it's gonna be a great day. So, anyways, that's why the 24 hours. Like I said, we've had some customers. There's a lot of customers that won't even appreciate it. I had one that we got rid of this customer. He used our competition. Everybody here was happy that they went away. And they tried coming back. No, we're not interested. You know what I mean? Like, and the thing was, like, you know, even after a hockey game, I got my we had the minivan full of the kids, wife. I get a phone call. I'm like, you're in luck, dude. I'm literally coming through town right now. I said, I'll stop by. I help them for maybe an hour and a half, right? My family sits in the van, right? We get it down, maybe get a thank you or something, right? But do we get like any loyalty out of it? Hey, this company always helps us. No, this guy always had a boss in front of him. And I was like, tell your boss, if they got problems, he needs to order extra springs and have them on site. You know what I mean? Well, you know, they don't want to spend $600-800 on garage door springs and have them just sitting around. Then what do you want? What do you want for faster service? I'm not stocking these things, and to pay me, I'll stock them at the shop. I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, Tanner's got, he says, we do 24-hour but charge an emergency fee, and it's mainly for commercial and farmers right now. We are in harvest, so it's a have to go deal. What is a door? Is it a door? Is it a door pecker? Door pecker man? I don't think I know what that is. This is, we can rent a 3219 lift for 180, a day with trailer, and like 400 for the month. No, that's pretty good. Like I said, that's about what we're sitting. Like I said, it's about 425. We can do one. It doesn't come with a trailer though. We have to provide our own trailer. They'll do the lift. But the problem is our rental company here is it's a small mom and pop shop in a sense. They run a hell of a facility. I mean, really good. They've been there for years. I mean, for some reason, you ever come up here up in Muskegon, Michigan, right? You need someplace, especially locally close. They got one in Grand Haven too, I guess. Use Ready Rental. I can't say enough about them. They're always really, Angie, I don't think Angie works anymore. Angie was a sweetheart. I loved Angie. She always really took really good care of us. But the problem was their scissor lift was always like the ramp was always really steep. So if you had any rain, a little bit of snow, I mean, it didn't matter. The rain was bad enough. It was hard, and especially if you go out with a scissor lift, especially by yourself. Some of you guys know how it is. You know what I mean? If you're out by yourself and you know now you gotta go find somebody. That's if there's anybody even around, and that's even if they have a forklift. You know that maybe can even come out a ground level door to help push it on or put it on. I mean, there's nothing worse, in my opinion. There's almost nothing worse. It's one of them, not all of them, but it's one of them that when you're done at the end of the day, you just gave it all you had. You're sweaty, you're dirty, your fingers and stuff, your arms are cut up. You want to go. You're like, I want to go home. I want to take a poop. I want to take a shower. I want to go home. And when that darn scissor lift won't get on that trailer, do whatever you need it to do so you can go home, there's nothing more irritating than it's just like, let's go. That's why I like the vans. Because I'm the type that sometimes you in your mind, you're like, oh no, it's going to go smooth. It's going to go great. And then you get going into it and things start going awry. You know what I mean? Stuff goes wrong. And there's nothing better than if you got garbage and that, and you're like, you got somebody that's a rookie working with you or whoever, you know, just throw it in the van. I'll clean it up later. You know what I mean? And then you can go cruising down the highway, the back roads, whatever you got to do. You can't worry about stuff blowing out, anything. You know what I mean? I love it. I love it. There you go. We got some ones in there. There. I appreciate it. Like I said, I try to tell you some of this stuff, and like I said, it makes me not feel at least so alone and not so crazy. It's because I'm with you guys. It's tough out there, man. It's tough. And I don't think I know. There's not many people that understand it. You know what I mean? You guys tuned in. I know you guys understand it. But maybe some of the newbies don't. You know what I mean? And so that's why I like. And like I said, is a nation today says getting overtime is more important. That could be. No, hey, we got 15 likes. Thank you for the likes. If you don't mind, hit the like button if you haven't yet. But no, that's the thing. Like I said, there's been some really irritating things in the business of that sort, and that's why, like, sometimes maybe it's encouraging too, right? If you have a location or you decide you're going to grow more and stuff like that. Like I said, it's weird how when I've gotten older, I look at it and I go, I would rather sell a product. I really would. And I hope affordable eventually, with cap and stuff, they can start maybe selling some more product. We got the location. We just got to get the people. We might have to do a little expansion or something on the back or something like that, a little more product. But, it's one of those things that it's just, there's something so nice sending something out the door, and just going, bye, have a nice day, versus, that phone call. Hey, I'm here. This ain't right. This ain't going good. They're here. They're in the way. They're pouring concrete today. The electrician's in the way today. And you're like, okay. So what do you want me to do? What are we going to do? Not what am I going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I don't know what we're going to do. We're going to pull our hair out. That's what we're going to do. But no, I've had some experiences, like I said, with emergency service. There's no loyalty in some of that stuff too. You know what I mean? That's what's really irritating. We do have some commercial, nothing really after hours, and if we do, they really appreciate it. But it's kind of like the one even. It's funny talking to Cap. He was telling me, he goes, we ever do a car wash? He goes, I'm going to tell him straight up. He says, if we do a car wash, he goes, we ain't doing this crap with the after hours or rain days or whatever. He says, what do we need to do? What we're going to do? He says, you're shutting your facility down. I don't care. And I went, I can believe in that, because the car wash ones are pretty bad. I did a lot of car wash in the younger years, and they were super late nights all the time. Late nights, rain days, and then you might not get enough of a rain on a rain day, and that's not enough. I mean, I remember one of the owners one time called me. I wasn't real happy about it. He called me and chewed me out, and he's like, what are you thinking, shutting my bay down? And I'm like, well, today's a rain day. I was like, it is sprinkling. It's like kind of on and off. I figured this is probably the best of the best. I got cars lined up. I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like, what are we supposed to do? What are we supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't. You know what I mean? Your stuff needs preventative maintenance. Your stuff needs change. Your stuff needs rollers. What are we supposed to do? And like I said, that one time, I'll tell the story because I don't think we have any other comments. Like I said, oh, by the way, I think, yeah, we got 16. Cool. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. So one guy here, right, he was always begging me. He needed more money. Don't we all? And in business, it's really tough. It's really tough. It's really tough to get, like, to relinquish the control. Does that make sense? It's hard to relinquish the control of it. So what happens is, look at Tanner. He's in there tearing it up. I see it. I see it too, Tanner. Thanks, Tanner. So it's hard to relinquish control, right? And so this guy, I tell him, I say, he's telling me, man, I really need the money, I need the overtime. All right. So I said, well, finally I thought about it for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 hours through the day. I go up to him, I said, all right, man. I said, hey, I'm going to let you go up At the time, I said it was Cap. I said, I'm going to go with Cap. You go with Cap. Oh, really? Yep. But, you know, try to do a good job, blah, blah, blah. I think the guy was doing something. Probably what Tanner deleted out of there. Doing some of the drugs. And anywho, they go up there. I remember, you know, I'm calling them. I've told this before, but some of the new guys, right? I'm calling them. I'm finally like, all right, I got to go to sleep. You know, it's like, whatever, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, it's time to go to sleep. I go to sleep, and like I said, I'll never forget that call when I got from Cap, when he's like, hey, he calls me, you know, because I already messaged him. Hey, how's things going? We got the door like down. We got a couple panels stacked, but you know, and I'm like, geez, you guys aren't going to get done till, you know, 5, 7 o'clock in the morning. Holy cow! You know, they want to get this car wash going again. It's on the exit side. I get that call from Cap, and I'll just never forget him being like, there was an accident. And I mean, I literally remember I was on my phone, I was on my pillow in a sense, and I'm like, this is a horrible dream. This is a dream. This is a dream. There's been an accident. And he's like, I'll call him Mr. G. He said, Mr. G, he said he fell off the ladder. And I'm like, what? You know, I mean, I'm sitting there pinching myself. I'm squeezing my cheeks as hard as I can. Because I'm just going, this can't be happening. This can't be happening. He's told me he needed this extra money. And I know accidents can just happen. You know what I mean? But I'm just sitting there looking like, I mean, and to be honest, this had to be like the first or second job roughly, especially being like after hours, right? During the day, it's like, you know, you're awake, your stuff's going on, you hear problems here and there, stuff happens, right? This is the first one I've done like after hours that I'm like, go ahead, you guys, let you handle it. And I still remember, I'm just sitting there, he goes, his eyes rolled back of his head. He fell off the ladder and he hit the pipe that the tires ride up against to. He smacked his head on it and he's got blood coming out of his mouth. And I'm like, so I'm like literally thinking I'm on the phone with Cap going like, is he dead? Is he dead? He's dead. He's gone. He's dead. And he's like, I hear him, you know, finally go, I got to let you go. He goes, the ambulance is showing up. And I'm like, this is getting real. The ambulance is showing up? So, I mean, it's like 100 miles an hour, right? Covers off. Wake up the wife. We got a problem. We got an emergency. You know, I mean, it's like the last time I ever felt like that was when my garage caught on fire on Thanksgiving Eve. And I came bolting in the house, telling my ex-wife, you know, we got a fire, and looking for a fire extinguisher. I've never felt my heart racing so fast. And so I remember and then here's the thing too, might be a good idea. Maybe Tanner's already got this, maybe he don't. Or any of you guys out there that have workers and stuff like that. You really should get emergency contacts. Get emergency contacts, get a second emergency contact. Didn't have emergency contact. So I knew his wife on Facebook. I wasn't friends with her, but I knew who she was. I knew how to find her. But what's the odds that she's going to be up? And I'm freaking out, man. Like, I don't know if like, you know, I don't know if this is like his last breath. I don't know. You know what I mean? And so I'm like telling the wife, I'm like, you know, if it was me, I wouldn't want somebody to wake up my family. You know, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die. You know what I mean? Like, don't go wake up my family. They'll find out in the morning. You know what I mean? Say nice things at my funeral. Just, but I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, do I go bang on the door? Like, do I, you know, what do I do? Because it's in another, it's a few towns over. You know what I mean? So he's going to a hospital that's not close or anything. You know, Cap calls me. We met here. You know, it was whatever, like 3 o'clock in the morning. And so I'm like literally sitting in the chair. Cap's sitting over here. And I'm like, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What's going on? And he's like, I don't know. They took him. You know, I'm trying to do as much as I can, right? I'm like, okay, he's out of our hands, man. He's at the hospital. He's at the best place he can be, right? We didn't leave him there. So what else do you do? So now I'm like, now I go to revert to number 2, and it's like, how far did you guys get with the door? He's like, it's half stacked or 3/4. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, we got to get the door at least up. I was like, we got to get that door at least propped open, take vice grips, clamp it open so they can resume, because otherwise I'm going to get another phone call that the guy's not going to understand, or whatever, you know what I mean? It's just, I already got other problems now, because now the other day is going to be shot. So ends up, we ran back up there, went, got an hours of sleep. Cap said he didn't sleep any. We came back, met, boogied up in a vehicle. And then once you have it, right, that's how the cookie crumbles. My foreman guy, my leader, he's not showing up in the morning. Great. So I find this out. And I find this out right as we're cruising back. And I'm like, this is wonderful. This day just couldn't be any better. I got to kill a spider. So that was fun. That was fun. It was like, are you serious? Don't tell anybody I stand on the table. I might break it. I'm kind of fat. That's a big sucker. Where is he at? Ugh. Red one too, man. I don't know if that bites or what that is, but that's nasty. Make sure he's dead. Don't want him crawling, biting my hiney. There you go. I saved somebody's life today, hopefully. Nobody gets bit. Now I gotta wash the stinking tops. So anywho, it wasn't a good situation. Whew. What do you guys got? What do you guys got in the comments? What's Joe got? Joe's got, he says, oh man, he says, what does it say is the way to go? One man show. It does have its benefits. There is definitely, gotta clean the counters up. Don't leave my dirty footprints up there. Not very nice. Don't mind me for a second. I'm here, I'm just cleaning. So yeah, the one-man show, it can be nice, but I think I was talking to the wife the other day about this, and I could be wrong. This might be where like Tanner could fill in a little bit on this, because he's getting up there, man. He's like, I think he surpassed me. He's getting to be a big guy. So here's the thing. What I found out, if you do, this is just what I feel. This is kind of my opinion. I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think? Like I said, we can have a nice discussion about this, honestly. If you do a one-man band, you got to pretty much do residential. Maybe a few hints of commercial. But for us, right from the get-go, hey, I appreciate we got 17 likes, by the way. So if you wouldn't mind, hit the like button if you're just joining in. What I found is that, so when we first started out, we were darn near almost 50-50. 50 residential, 50 commercial. I hit the commercial real hard. And at the time, it was super easy. I mean, we were back in the 06, 07. It was like the whole lumber shortage type era we had back, 3-4 years ago now, with the cough syndrome. You just sneezed it, right? You just sneezed. I'm a garage door guy, and people are like, oh, like, can you help us? Like, our garage door people, they don't show up for 3 to 6 weeks. When we're just so sick of it. And you're like, I can be there in like 2 days. And they're like, please, man, they worshipped you. But what I found out, so like Herman Miller, some of you guys might know what Herman Miller, they make the furniture and stuff. We got Herman Miller right kind of in our backyard in a sense. So Herman Miller, the furniture company, they were one of our big ones. We did all their locations up here in Michigan. There's a lot. I think there was 7. And these are big facilities. That was a huge undertaking. Like, technically, we shouldn't have been doing it. We were only like a 2 to 3 man band. But with a commercial, what I've noticed is that, like, I was almost going to hire just one guy. I was going to hire one guy just to take care of Herman Miller, because we were in there so much. And we were also doing garage doors, rolling steel, and we were doing man doors. Whew, that's a lot. So that's, to me, is like, that's not boy territory. That's man territory. Like, you need a man, knows how to shim, knows how to level. He's got a cigarette hanging out one side of his mouth. He's got the boots. He's got the plaid shirt on. Big boy stuff. But with the commercial, what I found, is like, if somebody, you can't leave for a week or 2 or 3 if you're a one-man band. They don't really typically like that. They got to use somebody else. They're going to use somebody else. That's another opportunity for your competition to come in. So like for here, I think Cap took a week off doing something. Whatever. I ain't gonna talk about his personal stuff. He took a week off. Go have some fun, right? And the show goes on. It's because we have this. That's why we. It's kind of like we ran into the secretary. That's why we have 2 secretaries. Almost a third, if you wanted to include my wife, can step in too if she needed to. A lot of people think they always think my secretaries or my wives are always, when I go to all these jobs, they'd be like, "Oh, talk to your wife," and I'm like, "You didn't talk to my wife." They're I almost consider them like my business wives. You know what I mean? Because I love them. They do a great job. But you didn't talk to my personal wife. And so it's always funny. They think that kind of stuff. But with the commercial, like I said, you got to be there for them. You know what I mean? And so what is nice is not having to always take on so much load. That is nice. You can take some time off. It just all depends on what you want to do. Peter's in the house. How do you decide what time to clock him out in a situation like that? Oh, Peter, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a great question. I don't know what we did. You know what was the really crummy part about it? I'll tell you a little more inside because you asked about it, and that's what I like. I like the comments, man. I love when you get me all riled up. The real kicker is that, he needs the money, right? He's been, now mind you, with this guy, we've been having issues. I've already caught him at the scrapyard with a heaping pile of garage doors. I wonder where he's getting those when he works for us full time. So I already caught him at the scrapyard. Even doors, like, we know we went to these customers before, right? They got stickers on them that there are, probably our customers, more than likely, right? What's the odds that half of these doors, 3/4, got our stickers on them, on the panels he's chucking? These are used ones. So obviously what he's doing is, when he's doing an install, a brand new install, he's taking them and he's dropping off at his house or something, not put them in the scrap hopper. I don't know about you guys. I guess put a number 2 in if you think that's still considered stealing. If they're taking the metal, right, all the scrap metal that you use for the business that you bring in for donut money, you help pay bills, you help pay for the payroll, the lights. Do you consider that stealing? Just asking. Put a number 2 in if you think that's still considered stealing. So, they're taking all the scrap metal to their house. Not asking. Never asked. Never, "Hey, do you mind? Whatever. I need some extra money, blah, blah." Never asked. Do you consider that stealing? Put number 2 in. Number 2 if you think that's stealing. So, I've caught him there. His truck keeps doing the Houdini because I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if he's got his buddy picking up the stuff or whatever. But then the end of the day will come and he will, it's like he don't have a truck. So now he's like calling me, and I'm already either left for the day because he's working late or whatever. I'm already at a job site still working. And he's like, "Hey man," he's like, "is it okay if I take the work truck home?" And it's like, you had a truck when you got to work today. Like, did somebody steal it? Well, no, my wife or this or that. They came and picked it up and this, and it's like, and it's one of those things, like, I don't want to be like, no, but I'm also like, this is becoming a common trend here. And then there's the problem of, like, he does take the truck home, and then I get a phone call, "Hey man, is it okay if I take the truck down to the bar on a Wednesday night?" Hell no. Like, I don't want my work truck down there with its name on it at a bar. I don't care. And then you got tools on there. Who's going to say you're going to lock up the bins correctly? Even if maybe they don't even lock. You know what I mean? Maybe something broke and malfunctioned. So tools are going to be missing. So you're going to show up tomorrow. You'll be like, "Hey man, I went to that job way up north that was, 2 hours away. I didn't have a Sawzall. And now, mind you, this guy would literally just drive back. I mean, this guy literally one time, I remember he walked into this office right here, standing right where I'm at, and looks at me and he goes, hey, he goes, you're going to have to work Saturday with me. And I'm like, on the phone, like, huh? He goes, I couldn't get it. And I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't get it? He couldn't figure out how to wind something. Something was different. Maybe it was like a Torque Master or something. Like he couldn't figure out how to get the ratchet thing to work or something on a Torque Master. And I'm like, and we got cell phones. And I'm like, you don't even have the nerve to call to say, hey man, I'm running into a problem. And I go, okay, what's going on? To walk you through it. You just decide on your own to drive all the way back. And mind you, this was a job that was, like I always tell you guys about, jobs away far. It was probably an hour and 15-minute drive one way from the shop. So he already went up there, couldn't figure out, did whatever, installed the door halfway, told the customer whatever he did, drove back to tell me I got to work Saturday with him because we got to go back up and figure this out. And I'm like, how do you even know I have Saturday off? How do you know I'm not on the boat? How do you know I'm not out camping? Those kind of problems. So the kicker was, sorry, I got on a rant there. The kicker was that he ends up with this whole job thing that he fell and got hurt. And I think I paid him, whatever, probably the rest of the time. That wasn't my concern, right? I got to pay him. He worked, whatever. But when he come in the next day, he's all upset. He's all upset. Man, he says, he's like, he's mad at Cap. I can't believe you called the ambulance. And he's like, dude, you fall off a ladder and your eyes are in the back of your head. You're showing all white and you got blood coming out of your mouth. He goes, hell yeah. He goes, I'm going to call the ambulance. And he goes, man, they cut my jacket. I had a nice camouflage jacket. They slit right down it. He says, with the scissors. Okay. Well, you want another jacket? I mean, and so he's like, so finally I'm like, Mr. G. So we got to figure out, I said, because obviously he ain't got no money. Do we need to make a workman's comp claim? And he won't give me an answer. I'm like, dude, we need to know. Like, we have to do this in a timely order. Like, we have to issue this stuff in a timely order to make sure everything falls in place because they're going to see the hospital visit. They need it. They're going to, you know what I mean? It's insurance, baby. Insurance is going to try to find every way they can not to pay and whatever. And you're telling me you got no money. So I don't know how you're going to afford this hospital bill. And then, if this hospital comes back and it's a $4, $5, $10,000 bill, Uncle Dave don't want to pay for it. Like, he needs to make a claim. He wouldn't tell me. I think because he was worried they're going to make him do a drug sample or something like that. That's my theory. So for weeks, we even called our workman's claim insurance. The wife did. Told them about it. They called back like 2 weeks later and said, are we pursuing this or what's... We got no answer. So we just kept on rolling, baby. And I thought for sure the way that guy was, I thought for sure he'd come in here with a bill, slapping. I got a $900 hospital bill or whatever. I can't pay this. You know what I mean? Something. He never did. I was surprised. But that's the stuff that keeps you up at night. Tanner's guy goes, when he hit the ground, you're out. I'm clocking you out. Today, what's the guy? Says, thank you so much for this story about the fall off the ladder. It gives me so much to think about. Oh man, that's why I like doing these. And like I said, so I really appreciate when you guys, put stuff in the comments because it gets the brain working. And it's always one of those things. Just remember, I'm not trying to, I don't want to steer anybody anyway, right? Garage door business is a great business. It really is. It's fun. You get to experience a lot of things. It can be a great business. But I do it more or less for hopefully helping somebody out there that's watching that goes, oh, Uncle Dave said something about this. You know what? And there's a Y in the road. Do I go this way or should I go this way? You know what? Maybe I'm just going to go this way because I can see this is problematic. And there was just so many things when I was starting out in business. It was one of those things. We didn't have this. We didn't have this information. I didn't have this information. I didn't have this. So I would have killed to have this information, right? I was buying books that were just talking to you about how to run a business and be a salesperson and this, and there was nothing talking about any of this stuff about having employees, some of the problems, products, where this we can be really specific on. And like I said, so I can kind of help you. And it's just one of those things. Maybe you're starting out, maybe you're in it, maybe you kind of look at it and you go, well, I don't really know what my pain threshold is. I didn't know what my pain threshold was, Like I said, basically I had 7 guys under me working, you know what I mean? Employees and stuff like that. The threshold got really painful, really painful. It was a matter of, I'm out there every day shaking people's hands, we'll get it taken care of for you. We'll get it taken care of for you. We'll get it taken care of for you. And then you got guys, then you got the weather. It's not even sometimes the guys, it's weather. Sometimes they got a sickness. Sometimes they have that G guy. Like I said, there was quite a few things that happened with him that I finally had to let him go. And even when I let him go, he still was like, what for? And I'm thinking, dude, I've had numerous of conversations. It'd be like some of you have like you're going through a divorce or an ex-wife. It's like, look, we've talked about this 100 times at length and till midnight every night about there's a problem. Like, we need to finally do something about it. We need to go our separate ways. And I remember he literally pulled up right here in front of the shop one day. I'm out here in the garage loading up stuff, getting stuff ready for the guys for the day. And he pulls just kind of screaming up, right? And he gets out of the truck, whatever, and he's like, all just disheartened. And I'm like, I'm not a psyche, I can't read minds. So I'm like, what's going on? My grandpa's in the hospital. Okay. I don't think he's going to make it today. I think he's going to, okay. So what the hell are you doing here? Well, I got to work. Yeah. Why do you got to work? And I told him, I said, Mr. G, I said, if you got something to say to your grandpa, and I said, you think this is the last day for your grandpa on this earth, I sure as hell don't want you here. Bye. Go. Work will be here. I will work later tonight and cover your shift. I will find somebody. I will find a grunt. I'll find something. I'll tell the customer we have to push it off to another day. Bye. And I tell you, I just remember him being like he just couldn't even process. Like, he wanted to fight me, he wanted to be mad, he was just like, maybe wanted to hug me. I don't know. You know what I mean? And he was just like, okay. Shoo. Uncle Dave got a lot of problems to take care of today. Lots of people, lots of problems. Got to be a problem solver. Bye-bye. Don't need your problems. Go say bye to, if that's your grandpa. And I'm not trying to joke with the grandpa. That's serious business. You know what I mean? But why did you not call me? You go call me. Hey, man, I'm at home right now. My grandpa's not doing good. Call me last night. Even leave me a voicemail. But they always waited to the goddamn end of the first of the morning. It always seemed like always was the problem. And I'm sitting there and I'm always like, you didn't think last night? They always tell you in the morning, right? They tell you, they go, well, I wasn't feeling good last night. Then why in the hell did you not text me? Then why did you not call me and give me a heads up? That's all I ask. If you take a poop and it comes out funny, you can call me or text me. I'd rather you text me and say, hey, man, just giving you a heads up. Not feeling so good. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to try to come in, but I'm just letting you know. And I go, okay, that's cool, man. But at least now I got a heads up, right? I can start kind of predicting the next day and going, okay, maybe I need to come in an hour early. Maybe I should call the other guy in, one of the the side work, part-time workers, like, now I got options. But when you call me an hour or 15 minutes before you're supposed to be in for the day, that's a problem. Kevin's guy says, Tanner, it's actually you're employed until you hit the ground. I love it. Professional door service. He says, my grandpa says if you fall off a ladder, your shift ends right before you hit the ground. That's good. I like that. I like that. Tanner says, I always tell my guys, if you fall or get hurt, I'll just drag you to the end of the road and say you fell there so you're not on the job site. I love it. I love it. This is my young guy who was unloading truck Monday and told him probably 5 times, don't ever put your hands between material and the truck, because if it falls, the band breaks, it'll smash your hand. And he didn't listen, and his hand went off. Sees it says grapefruit. Oh man, he says didn't break it, but was tender. Ooh, tender this week. Oh man, it's really weird too. Is one time. Oh, it's sweet. We got up to 17 likes too. So thank you for the likes, you guys. We had a guy. We were changing. I think we were changing like payroll systems, how they issue and are checking. For payroll. We were in a weird lapse for like 2 weeks, right? So it would never fail, right? I don't even know how the guy did it. We had a built trailer for longer doors. I think it's 21 feet long. A little trailer I built with very little money back in the day. Worked great. And somehow he was lifting up doors, and I don't even know how he did it, because I kept thinking the way this trailer is, it's not super high. He leaned on it somehow. And he I think he broke or just fractured a rib. It wasn't nothing like quite serious, but he didn't feel good. He had to go to the hospital. And then of course it never failed. We were in that lapse for a week or two of different workman's comp. And sure enough, here we are. And he's like kind of going full tilt with it. You know what I mean? So it was like, so we had to pay out of pocket, and I forget what it was. It was probably like $3,000-4,000 that we paid out of pocket because we were overlapping with coverage. And now this guy, and what kind of irked me, he was actually a pretty good installer. He liked his smokes. Let's just say that he liked the WEED stuff. Now I think he works for a place that they grow and all this kind of stuff. But he was a good installer, man. He did really good, but he was real emotional. I don't know why sometimes it feels like people like that get emotional. Like if you tell him the next day when he come in, like if he knew, he's like, what am I doing tomorrow? He'd be like, all right, you're going to install a 16x7 up in Big Rapids, which is quite a ways away for Lowe's. Oh, okay. Come in the next morning, he'd be like, hey, man, I got to have you go over to Brunswick, the ones that make the bowling balls and all that. I got to have you go to Brunswick, and you got to help at least get that door like down and unstacked with Joey or somebody today, let's just say. Just making up names. And, I mean, he'd just be like, I gotta go over. I'm like, yeah, but hey, man, at least you're in town. So you probably might be an early. I mean, just like, oh, well, but I slept all night thinking I was gonna go up to bigger, and it wasn't like I never could figure it out. I'm like, what, you got booty call up there, or what? Are you like? You're up there to go get jerky, favorite smokes. Like he never had like he just always, and it'd be all different places around, and he'd just be like, oh, like he was always super emotional, but he was a hell of an installer. He always did really good. Every time I went and looked at his work, he's probably right up there for residential. He'd be right up there with Tanner. He was one of those guys that just like, you looked at his work and you're like, damn, he does better work than me. Good job. Rich, what's up, Rich B? Tanner, he says, too professional. He says, Peter says, hopefully he learned now, Tanner. That's hard to say. Sometimes guys, the way they work, I had a couple grunt guys one time working, man, they're dropping the sections. You know how they're unloading a truck or whatever, and they're like, just letting them, literally letting them go like they're plywood. Boom, boom. I'm like, whoa, no. Like, you do not understand what this will cost me if these are damaged. Well, I thought they're like plywood, No, they're not plywood, dude. And I also would see it at the warehouses too, because they normally have temps work there. Same thing, man. Those guys come out, they just flop them, man. And I'm like, please stop flopping my garage door section. Now I know why. When we get them to the job site, they're damaged, because people in the warehouse are screwing things up. Dun, 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 dun. It's Tanner guy. He says, yeah, he says, I don't know about this one. He says, I put him on a 90-day trial period about a month ago. He tripped and put a shaft through sheetrock. Ooh, last week, and his hand this week, he's pressing his luck. Yeah, it's kind of so I heard this from a drywall guy. He's actually works for a big builder now, does steel buildings and that. We do work under him. And he told me once, he's always got great little life advice nuggets. When he ran his small drywall business, he told me what he would do. And this is actually kind of a good, this isn't bad, you know what I mean? I think this is kind of good. So for us, we're always kind of lucky because we have the grace with workman's comp and stuff like that. So, you know, if something happens, we're going to try, we're going to do our best to take care of somebody. But what we found out, right, you know, just by trial and error in a sense that, you know, you're almost better off bringing somebody on for maybe like, oh, hey, by the way, too, if you're jumping in here, hit the like button if you don't mind. I appreciate it. But what it is that you give them maybe a week or two, maybe a month, whatever you want to do. And what you do is you pay them cash. Pay them cash. That way you don't got to put them through the whole system, right? You got to have them fill out the paperwork. They got to do the handbook if you got one. They got to, you know, just we're going to pay you cash. You're going to work with this guy. We're going to see how you roll. You know what I mean? Because I tell you what, there's been a lot of people that have come through that door that would just be in here and, you know, this is way back in the beginning days, right? You know, I'm worth $17, $20 when most guys are making 12, 15 was on the high end. You know what I mean? And they were like, you know, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. And I've taken these guys out and I'm like, you don't know nothing, dude. Like, I mean, I watched guys literally take all the hinges off and I have to catch them. You know, what are you doing? You can't take all the hinges off like that. I was like, the door's going to come down and kill you, you know? Oh, I'm just taking the hinges off, you know? So there's just a lot of that kind of stuff out there. A lot of people come into no driver's license. You know, the one that got me the worst is I didn't do a good enough background check on him. And I found out that he was stealing from other companies. So, you know, here's just some advice a little bit for some of the guys out there. What I kind of gun for a little bit, it doesn't always matter. Every situation is different. Is you're kind of looking for somebody that likes the outdoors, right? Because we're kind of doing outdoor stuff, right? We're in either the hot sun, we're either in the cold, we're either in sometimes mediocre weather, rain, snow, hail, hurricanes, floods. I don't know where the hell you're at. You need somebody that's kind of an outdoorsman, right? And then you got to do, like, my biggest thing for me always is I always look at, like, I can train anybody as long as they're willing. Right? That's the thing. They want to learn. They're asking questions. They're trying. And long as they're slowly improving, that's good enough for me. But the other thing is a real big one that can be a real kicker. I think is really the biggest one for me is honesty. Honesty is really the biggest one. Are you honest? Are you a man of your word? Are you truthful? Are you taking garage door remotes, you know, out when nobody's looking? Are you taking scrap metal when nobody's looking? Are you stealing, you know, garage door springs when nobody's looking? And I always tell everybody, you know, when they work underneath me, you know, I would always tell them, I'd say, you know, you got to remember. So I might not find out today. I might not find out tomorrow. It might not be next week. It might not be next month. It might not be for a couple years. I said, but everybody talks. I said, I will find out. And that's just how it is. Because everybody, you guys ever, like, there's something about watching, like, The Matrix, the movie, right? It's like the SAM, the agents. That's what everybody's, you know how they morph into another person? Like, that's how it works. Like, everybody's talking. That's what people love to do. Talky. And you're going to find out. You know, I found out one time a guy was selling probably remotes that he was stealing from here. And because the guy that came back and worked here said, you know, you sent the one guy out to my house and, you know, he was selling remotes for, I think, like $10. And he goes, I don't remember any time that you could buy remotes for under $10. And I'm like, no. I'm like, remotes have, like, always been $20+ our cost. So obviously this guy was doing something under the table. Another one was a guy that was working here. He ended up, they were pilfering springs, garage door springs. And the only reason I found out, right, because now the wife and him got a divorce. He ended up socking his wife in the eye. Real cool dude, right? That's after he's been gone. You know, he's been fired. And she comes here and says that she's going to court. And he's saying right now that to put up a residential 7-foot garage door opener, it's $4,000, and he wants $4,000 for a residential garage door opener, 7-foot tall rail. I said, man, I'll give you a hell of a deal. I'll do it for $3,000. You know, so she wanted an estimate, didn't know if it was a trap. You know, I know she was trying to do something, and then she finally told me why she was here. She goes, I think there's some stuff at my house that might be yours. And I'm like, okay, a little odd, you know? And so I went over there. Sure enough, there was probably about a pickup size, you know, level full, whatever you want to call it, heaped, you know, of garage door springs. And then the worst part was she told me, based on my competition, because the guy would work for his uncle or something that owned another garage door company. He was already there. He took the stuff that he thought was his. And I went, oh. So there's probably some openers here, some other stuff. He took some of the good. Oh, that's probably mine. I'm surprised he didn't take all of it. But I got at least some springs back. So, you know, shame on me too, right? And that's why I'm always, I haven't brung it up again. Like I said, anybody out there has got a great inventory system that's relatively affordable, that works across. That's the hardest thing. That is the one thing I still haven't come across through the IDA, the books, movies, videos, anything that has a very good inventory system that's not very super intensive versus, you know, everything comes off the truck. Either you got to label it, you got to put it in a Kanban system, or you know, our things really is the cameras. You know, we can always look at the cameras if something seems like it's starting to get a little funky. You know, you can look at the cameras. Cameras help a lot. But like I said, they could even be taking the scrap metal. You know what I mean? They're taking it home. But then what are you going to do? You're going to put GPS on the trucks too? All these things, man. All these things. Or, like the one guy told me, you're on a chunk of property. It's all got cameras, right? You're selling stuff out the door. See how there's not so much liability? You know, like you're selling a product out the door. You know what I'm saying? Do you see how like that, you know, you're not dealing with the truck, you're not dealing with insurance, you're not dealing with all that kind of stuff. Just saying, just some ideas, just brainstorming. It's kind of ridiculous. Unless you have medical card of weed, you can fire it. He says, let them have option of taking a class, and when they can stay, but if they refuse, you can let them go. Yeah, it's always, what is it? It's that whole slow to hire, quick to fire. Kind of rings true. You know what I mean? And I've had some guys that were pretty decent, right? One guy was a good salesman, right? But he was a thief. You know what I mean? What are you supposed to do with, you know, even though he's a good salesman, but he's a thief. You know, he's taking openers, he's doing all kinds of stuff. I just don't respect that. You know what I mean? Because the biggest thing is that I've learned in the business, right, is here's the thing. I always remember my one buddy's telling me, right? He says, Dave, he says, you know, I got people, he says, you know, don't come to my house and steal. You know, I don't come to your house and steal. I don't even have the option to come to your house and steal, right? That's like, I don't get the option to go to your house and, you know, munger through your stuff, right? So you're coming to an establishment that has an owner, whatever it is, you know, whatever you guys are, you know, doing. Could be a shipping container, could be an enclosed trailer, it could be your own personal garage, which I've had problems with that, you know. And that was the thing, you know what I mean? There was so many times, you know, sometimes you look at it and you just wonder how many hours and days and months and years have added up that you've lost. Because, for instance, when it was ran out of my house, I would literally get guys that would go in my garage and go through my toolbox, and they would take like, let's say like a brake compressor or whatever, you know, to collapse the back, the calipers, right? To compress it so you can put new brake pads on it. Weekend would come, and I would literally be like, I'm going to work on the service vehicle, or I'm going to work on my own personal vehicle. And I mean, I'm looking for 30, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, where in the hell is my spring compressor? Not my spring, but my caliper compressor. I don't know the technical term. Can't find it. I can't find it. And like I said, when you got multiple people that are coming to your place, you know, and I'm forgetful. I'm not the most organized in the world. So I'm thinking, I must have left it somewhere. Or maybe I left it on a tailgate or something. It fell off the truck. I don't know. So now you got to go cruise across town to the AutoZone. Go to AutoZone, buy it. It's 18, 20 bucks. And it's like, I didn't really care about the 18, 20 bucks. It's the fact that I got to spend all this time. I already spent 2 hours looking for it. And I got 30 minutes to AutoZone, 30 minutes back. I grabbed something to eat while I'm out. So, you know, there's another, you know, hour and a half, whatever. And then to come find out on a Monday, the guy walks in and he's like, hey, here's your caliper thing. I borrowed it. And you're like, and what I would tell them, and I go, oh, no. This is yours now. Oh, no, I just borrowed it. No, this is yours. This is yours now. Because now I'm taking 20 bucks out of your paycheck. And that's being generous. Because my time is worth whatever, $30, $50 an hour. I should take that out too. So what I had to do is I actually had to make a list that I would show anybody that was at my house. And I would tell them. I got really irritated about it. I would tell them, I say, you ever take anything off property, it goes on here. It better be on here. And I basically almost, you know, made it like, if it's not on here, you're fired. You know what I mean? Because it's just, I got so sick of it. You know, I even had a generator one time. That wasn't even mine. It was my mom's. My mom bought 2 generators. The day I put them both together for us. She had hers, I had mine. The day I got it fired up, 10 minutes later, the air conditioner was running. Our electricity came back on. And I said, Mom, I said, take this one back. That was very generous of you. You didn't have to do that. I said, take this one back. We'll just have one. And I said, the odds that we ever both lose power is very, very slim. This has been like once in a lifetime for us. And I said, I'll just keep it, but I'll keep it maintained. I said, and if you ever need it, it's at my house. You can come get it. I'll bring it to you, whatever. And of course, what happens? What happens? That's the day I go out. I go out to Lansing. I go out to Lansing, Michigan. I'm out doing a service call, doing an install for Lowe's, whatever it was. I'm out there working. Power goes out in town. I get a phone call from my mom. Hey, power went out. Could we come get that generator? It's been out, you know, most of the day. We're worried about our fridge. Sure, Mom. Not a problem, Mom. Go for it, Mom. Help yourself, Mom. You know how to get in the house, everything. Mom, stepdad, show up. Can't find the generator. I get a phone call. I'm done with the job. I'm cruising back, right? Can't find the generator. It's either in 2 spots. I had 2 garages. I had a personal kind of garage, and then I had more, well, really both were work. But I said, you know, it's I know where it's at. I know exactly where it's at in my head. It's not there. You know, this is kind of right before we really had the smartphones and really we had cell phones. So now what do I do? What do I do? I start driving excessively. I start, you know, speed limit 70. I'm doing 75, 80, 85, right? I'm trying to get back. I'm like, this is not right. You know, my mom's like in distress here. She's like, you know, she wants the generator. And I'm already ticked. I'm like, it's there. It's underneath the bench. You're not looking. It's there. So what happens? I go drive excessively. I finally get home, right? So now I could have got a speeding ticket. I jeopardized other people's lives. I could have killed myself. So I go there and I'm like, it's gone. It's freaking gone. Now the garage door, of course, right? Because it's not their house, right? The garage door is left open. Now, mind you, some of you guys don't know, the road's probably 300 feet roughly, whatever, 300 feet, something like that. It's probably 300 feet away from the road, but my garage door was left open. Now, in my area, I got neighbors, and we all kind of watch out for each other, but I'm kind of doing that like, did somebody literally walk down my driveway and steal just my generator? Did somebody steal my generator? I mean, there's power tools in here. I got DeWalt tools. I got garage door openers. I mean, I got all kinds of cool stuff in here, and I'm thinking that, but they took the generator. Something just don't smell right here. Well, who's the last one here? Actually, it's my business partner. So I call him up. I said, hey, man, you know, now, of course, it's like a Friday. It's already like, you know, 6, 7 at night, whatever. And I'm like, hey, man, did you take the generator? And he's like, oh, yeah, I did. Okay. And he goes, yeah, he goes, I let my buddy's friend took it for his grandma. So this isn't even for you or even for your grandma that like you don't even have a good excuse to say like, you know, she's on life support, she has oxygen, and you didn't even have the nerve. You didn't have the nerve to call me and say, hey man, would it be cool? I mean, I just, that just blows my mind. That blows my mind where I look at that and I go, how in the hell do you not call me when we have cell phones? They've been around for a while. We all know how to use them. And you don't give me a call and say, hey, would it be okay if I take the generator? And so I had to tell him, I said, dude, I said, you bring that generator back right now. And you know, now it's getting to be 7, 8 o'clock at night. And he brings it back, right? And he's got his tail between his legs, you know, you know. And it's like, dude, this is embarrassing. I mean, this isn't even technically my generator. You know what I mean? My mom lets us use it, right, when I was in the very beginning stage of the business as a nice thing to do. You know what I mean? Like we have it on jobs. We try to take really good care of it. I changed the oil. I put fresh gas in it. And when she needed it, it's not here. Because of you taking the idea of coming to my house and business, and taking something off my property. That's pretty irritating. And that's what happens. And that's just something I've learned over the years. That's just something that kind of happens, you know, and it's not fun. And you got to nip it, and it's going to happen. And that's why, like I said, I'd rather have somebody have a good record. You know, they're honest, they're placed that, you know what, that's a good dude, good lady, good person, than to just bring somebody kind of that's like, you know, their history hasn't been so good. Because the one guy that did work, you know, he was taking my truck when I was on vacation, after hours, doing all kinds of weird stuff. Ended up ransacking a truck, stealing all the tools off of it. Kind of ridiculous unless you met a card. Waiting to hear what he does next week. Peter's got. Yeah, hopefully he accidentally finds a different job. I love it. Peter's got his fingers crossed. That's awesome. Rich B says I always say don't make your problem my problems. Ooh, Rich, that's a good one, man. I remember this years ago. What was it? What was the saying? I always remember that. I read this one time. It was in a magazine. I think it was like with a girl next to it or something. But it said something about like, don't ever come to your boss. That's what it was. Okay, so it was, don't ever come to your boss with a problem without a solution. Now that's a hell of a chunk of nugget right there for you. That's a piece of life advice. Don't ever come to your boss with a problem without a solution. Sounds pretty simple. I can tell you what, 98% of people can't do it. Cannot do it. I've seen so many people. It could be family issues. It could be work issues. I've had a lot of them come to me on stuff, and it's like, you know what works best for that sometimes? Silence. Just listen. Go, I understand. That's not good. Silence. Another trick. Probably shouldn't tell you my tricks of this sort, but I'll throw it out there because it's. Hey, we got 18 likes, and like I said, maybe if we get to 20, maybe I'll tell you some more if they come across my brain. But here's one. One thing I learned is that when people would call me, I wouldn't answer. Because I learned that when I would answer, right? When people would call me, if I answered, now customers, I answer for customers, stuff like that, certain degrees. But the workers, blah, blah, blah. They call you, right? And it's what it is they're panicking. I think that, at least this is what I think. I can't say for them, right? I'm not in their head, but they're panicking. They run into a problem, right? And the first thing is, I gotta call somebody, I gotta tell them my problem, you know, and it's like, it's not life or death or anything really. It's just they panic. So what I would do is you let them call, you give them, 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes out of the courtesy or whatever, and sometimes I'm busy too. That happened a lot of times. That's why my phone is, I tell everybody, and I tell you what, we got up to 19. We're getting closer. We're getting closer, baby. I hope you guys get to experience, if you've ever went through the stuff I've gone through. And I hope you guys eventually, maybe one day, you can have your phone on silent, because it is the most peaceful thing. I'd love to just get rid of it. I'd like to go to those walkie-talkies. Haven't got there yet. Haven't got there yet. The ones that they've been advertising, they make over here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The old, the Nextels were great, man. The old two ways, man, those were great. Miss those days. But anyways, I would wait. Just wait. Let them, give them, I might text them, hey, I'm busy, I'm in a meeting, I'll get with you in, 10, 15 minutes. And you would be so surprised that how many people, when you call them back, they'll just go, oh, I already figured it out. And you're like, you sure? Yeah, I already talked to somebody, blah, blah, blah. We're all set. We made a decision. You sure? You sure? You really sure? You really sure you don't need Uncle Dave? You don't need Big Papa? No? You sure? Okay. I'm exaggerating this a little bit, but it was amazing. Give them the time to sit there and stew a little bit, because otherwise you answer, and most times stuff goes right over my head. They'll be sitting here and be, blah, 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 we got to go back to the future, 1947, the flux capacitor. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. And they, and then I'm like, or I tell them, like, I'll text them and say, can you send me pictures? Because they might text you and go, well, I got a problem with this bracket. Okay. There's a lot of brackets on a garage door. There's a lot of stuff up in the ceiling. There's a lot of, send me some pictures. Send me some pictures. And I mean, it seems like every picture I come across, there's very hardly ever, not saying never, but there's hardly any picture I ever come across. If it's garage door related, most things related, automotive, whatever, in life, right, that I look at and I go, because you know how it is when people take pictures, they're always trying to identify, like, I hope he sees, can he see the angle on this? You know what I mean? That I don't see it and go, yep, I already know what the problem is. And sometimes I have the solution, sometimes I don't, and I have to come up with them. But you know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. Give them some time. Give them some time. Because that was always the worst thing. I always hated when I was in front of a customer. My phone was bling, 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 ringing, and I'm like, you're important because you pay the bills. They're important, but I don't know if they're calling, because you know how it is. Like, somebody calls with, like, there's a fire, there's fire, fire, fire. It's like every day is fire. You know what I mean? You got to learn how to put out the fire, dude, So that's awesome. Don't come to your boss with a problem without a solution. I love it. I love it. And you don't even have to be the right solution. That's the thing. You know what I mean? You don't even have to be right. It's just the fact that you thought about it and said, we got a problem. This is how I'm thinking about addressing it. What do you think? Love it. What's Tanner? He says, what a 5 to 6 a.m. heads up is not heads up. He says, I hate that crap. Oh, man. No. That's why, like I said, if anybody's ever working for somebody, and that's the hardest thing, is most people just, I think I like that saying, nobody's ever going to give it, like, when you do your work, whatever you're doing, if you hire somebody or have somebody underneath you or whatever you're doing, like you're probably going to get like 50, 60% out of them. They're never going to be the 100% like you. So that was always hard, because there was stuff I could always sell, you know what I mean? But to deliver it, then to depend, man, that's tough. You know what I mean? So once you got some good people, though, life can go a lot smoother. There's no doubt about it. But it takes time. It takes years. And one thing I've noticed in the business, I always knew this was probably going to be a problem. I'm not saying it's always, but I feel like it's a pretty big problem, is that when you have youth, it's hard to have that seniority in a sense, especially like for me. I was hiring guys that were actually older than me. They actually had more experience than me, and they were horrendous. They were horrendous. I tell you what, I think I'd rather hire like Caleb, the one I work with, nephew. He's a great kid. He's a great kid. He doesn't complain. You tell him, he sits there and he's like, okay. And he's learning. You can tell he's learning. He's getting better. He's buying some tools. He wants to do better. You know what I mean? That's the thing. You got to be hungry. You got to be, and he listens, instead of just being like, I know what to do, and getting all upset and be like, I don't want to dig holes, or whatever. Hey, we got 20. Thanks for liking, or the like button, 20. We call Tanner says, we call them bitch boys here. He says, yeah. You know how that goes. Evan says, he says, do you have to sell LiftMaster to get the sweater? Hell no, I think you can probably get them off eBay. I haven't looked in a while. I forget how we got this one. We got this one at somewhere. I think it was, maybe it was at, oh, you know what it was? I know where I got this. Because we only had one size left. This one's actually kind of an extra large, so it's a little bit big on me. It was our vendor here in Michigan that is the biggest. But Rusty was showing me, for some reason, in Pennsylvania, he's getting advertisement from a place, I think it's roughly over by Detroit. So I don't know if they're going to try to compete with the one place that I know of. That's the biggest one. At least this was, 3 years ago or whatever. They told me, the dealer at least of LiftMaster, that they were the biggest. But anyways, he had a bunch of shirts he could give away because, of course, they're over there just all the time kissing Heine. I remember I was so embarrassed because I was getting in with Jeannie and the sales rep guy's there. He's working them over too because they do sell Jeannie, but they're not their they're more pronounced LiftMaster. And I remember the guy's there. And he's like, hey, Dave. And I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, shut up. I'm like, dude, I don't need my vendor to know I'm hooking up with you direct. You know what I'm saying? I just kind of was like, when we going to dinner? This guy always wanted to buy me food. And every time we'd sit down, he's always, when you going to buy a skid? And I mean, he doesn't work there anymore. He was a nice guy and all that. I mean, I have nothing against Jeannie, but it's just once you start kind of getting older, you start kind of learning this stuff a little bit, you start realizing how much stuff can be kind of time consuming and it's kind of a waste for certain things. But I guess you don't know until you know, right? I mean, what is that saying, right? I like to use lesson repeated until lesson is learned. And I did a hell of a lot of that. Just keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Nothing happened. Keep doing it. Finally, it was like lesson repeated until lesson was learned. And then finally, it's like it hits you like a brick in the face. And you're like, this is silly what I'm doing with this avenue. It's not working. I've tried everything. I've tried to make a list. I've tried to execute it. I've tried to put more hours into it. I tried to, buy better equipment, bigger trucks, bigger everything. And it's like, this is not working. It's not. And then when you start looking at it, especially when you start having product failures, that gets really irritating. You know what I mean? Because I don't know, the old mechanical limit LiftMasters. I was working on one not too long ago. It made me want to cry, man. I was just sitting there and I'm like, dude, this is what made me. I installed these LiftMasters, the what am I trying to think? The 8265 or 8365, with the old mechanical limits on there. I'm like, dude, I installed so many of these openers, and I just went, see ya, customer. See you in probably about 10, 15, 20 years. Love ya. Thanks for the money. Thanks for the good service. Thanks for the, whatever. And I just leave. And I never worried about it. And then it's like they came out with this new technology, and it just constantly would always be a certain something going on. And it's like, I hate ghosts, man. I tell you what, I'd rather have a flat tire than have a misfire in a car that doesn't throw the check engine light that the customer notices. And they're like, there's something going on. There's something going on. There's something going on. And you're like, can you mimic it or can you replicate it? And they're like, no. And you're like, what the hell am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to buy a trail cam for this damn thing? Spend $30 or $60, whatever they cost a month, and put it on there and watch this thing, in operation the whole time? It's like, oh, it drives me nuts. Peter's got, I love it. He says, I love the Beach Boys. That was a good one. That's a good one. Tanner said never heard of them. Oh man, whatever. Rich V says, I'm more of a Jane and Dean guy. Oh man. Oh, that's great. There you go. Alan Jackson and Garth Brooks all the way. Heck yeah. What's the one guys are all grouped up? All we got is Willie. Willie's left, right? Willie. Boy, he was my first one when I was a kid. My first song. I remember being on my dad's truck, and that was On the Road Again. On the Road Again. I thought that was the coolest song. That deserves a like. if you like that. Like I said, the old Willie Nelson, man. I on the road again, man. I used to sing that for many years. I still once in a while. I like torture the girls too. I tortured my daughters with the one, which is funny because one of them actually was listening to it the other day. What's the one I grew up with too? Billy Ray Cyrus. That's what it is, right? Don't break my heart, my achy breaky heart. You know, that's a good one. You want to get that in the household, and that stuff never leaves, man. That's stuff you're the punishment. So Peter's guy says you can use a C-clamp to compress the calipers if you need to. That is true. That is very true. You're very right. But it's one of those things, when you got the right tool for the job that's made for it, that you bought for it, you're so upset that you can't find it. That was the hardest thing, man. I always hated searching for tools, and then to find out somebody took it. Oh, that was the worst. Dun-dun-dun-dun. Tanner must have got somebody. They got whacked. Excuse me. Tanner says, your partner used it for his friends. I know, for his friend. Dude, that was the worst. I just couldn't believe that, man. And that's why I'm always like, some of the new guys, right? This is for the new guys. That's why I say use caution. Because my business partner, it's sad to say, but we were actually, my business partner, we were best friends, great friends. You know, I mean, we'd hang out, we did all kinds of stuff, wave runners, bikes, motorcycles. I mean, it was everything. And he was more electrical, right? He did more electrical stuff than I did. I was more mechanical. So I liked doing the doors. I liked figuring out the leverage, cables, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, he was a type that wanted to work from like 9 to 2. That's what he wanted. So like when we get done with one garage door, that's all we had for the day. He was like, all right, time to go home. And I'm like, whoa, I'm like, you can't just go, like, dude, like we got to do like paperwork. I mean, we got advertising still to do. I still got to meet with this one guy. If you'll meet with this guy for advertising or whatever, you know, like we got to load up the truck for tomorrow. Like we got to make sure everything's there. And I got left a lot of times stranded, you know what I mean? Like, and then one time what really irritated me, there would be times that I'd have to either go to the dentist or had a doctor's appointment, or I don't know, maybe I'm having a kid or something. The wife's going to have a kid or something. And, you know, it's like, I'm like, dude, you got to take the phone today. Like, take the phone. Like, I've worked really, 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 really hard to make this phone ring. So every customer, like, you need to try your best on every customer to answer this phone. This right here, not this one. This rings, you answer, you get right back to him, like, you know. And I remember one time I'm like calling him, doing like a test run, because I think I was done, or I was like, you know, he wasn't at the shop, and I'm like, what the heck, man? And I call him, and like he doesn't call me for like I don't know, it was like 2 or 4 hours later. I'm like, what the hell, dude? I'm like, I've been calling you. Oh yeah. He goes, I decided, you know, it was a nice day out, so took the wave runners out, you know. So I was on the thing. I had it with me, but it was a Ziploc bag underneath the seat, you know, just kind of didn't get to it. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I worked so hard to get that phone to ring, and I got customers, especially the commercial ones, that you need to like respond with in, you know, like 20, 30 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you need to get back to them. At least acknowledge it. And he just didn't take that stuff serious. You know what I mean? And there became a time where he was just you know, I wanted him to be more the office. He just didn't like that, you know. And he was one of those guys that wouldn't tell you what was going on. Like, he'd come in during the day and he'd be all, you know, he'd sit down and he'd be like, you're like, not a good night, rough, didn't get much sleep. And he would, nothing, you know. And you're like, dude, I'm a guy, you're a guy. Not enough last night? None this month? What's going on? You know what I mean? Like, you can tell me. And he would just never tell you. So finally one day, I finally broke the broke the code on him. And I'm like, I was like, what do you want to do? What do you want? And it was basically when I took over the business. Because he didn't want to deal with any of the financial stuff. When we went through a really hard time, we had somebody owed us $10,000. They didn't pay us, and they went to prison. And he ended up, there was a lot of stress going on. That was the whole 2008 stuff, the crash, the recession. And he was like, he's like, I just want to come in. He said, I just want to come in and do my job and go home. And I was like, that's fine. Like, I respect that. Like, I can understand that. And I can make that happen now that I understand what you want. But I'm sitting here trying to make him like answer the phone partially, kind of like be like a backup secretary. Like when I couldn't answer it when I'm on the phone would ring over to him, stuff like that. And that's what I did. I did that for probably another year or two with him. And then he just left me hanging on one job. No reason. Just finally said, you know what? I'm done. And I told him on that job, I said, you need to make sure the wiring on this, somebody else knows how to come behind on for the Coast Guard in Grand Haven, and he left me hanging on it. Wasn't cool. And no 2 weeks, just stuff like that. I mean, there's just some people out there that just don't have no respect. And he was the one that took the generator too. You know what I mean? Just that whole mindset of me, never like, hey, should I call and ask? I mean, isn't that common sense? Sounds like Garth is going to be joining P. Diddy. Are you serious, Rich P? It wouldn't surprise me the crazy stuff they do, man. Are you serious? You better let me know. Send me a text on that one if they are. I want a screenshot or something, man. I don't know. I thought I've kind of lost. I don't really watch a lot of these guys anymore. I like some of the songs and stuff like that, but I thought Garth, something was happening with him. Wasn't he kind of like, wasn't he going woke or something? I don't know. I just feel like I've heard, or he's there with Oprah or something. I don't know. I just thought I heard something going on. So it wouldn't surprise me. He tries to do something I don't know for sure on this. I could be totally wrong. I listen to a lot of his songs. I like a lot of his songs. You know what I mean? But this stuff is so Hollywood nowadays. It's just getting so crazy. It really makes me want to kind of vomit, how bad it's getting. So Dab, I've been thinking about you. I think, honestly, I come across you on Facebook. I think it's you. I don't know for sure. You're a young buck. I don't think you have on your profile exactly where you quite work or something like that. But I can't remember if you are working or were kind of doing your own. Getting burnt out. How can I fix my attitude? I don't really know on that so much. I mean, sometimes it's tough if you don't really enjoy what you do. So it's kind of a matter of, you just got to sometimes push through it for the time being. Because like right now, honestly, I don't think it's a very good time to be switching things up big time. Because they were just saying how the labor market's pretty soft right now. So there's not a lot of, they're doing these, what is it, the ghost jobs or stuff like that, where they're saying they're hiring, but they're not hiring. So there's a lot of stuff kind of going on. Just try to stay upbeat, you know what I mean? Just wait till the next thing hopefully comes along. Like vacation, Rich says. There you go. Dabby says, maybe stop smoking weed on the job, he says. I don't know. Can anybody, like, since I got, like, a good group of people here, can anybody tell me, because I don't know. I don't smoke. And if that's you, man. I'm not whatever, man. You want to smoke cigarettes? I don't care what you do. Drink alcohol? I don't care. But what I'd like to know for when I've been around these employees, is it just, I just don't know if I'm making this stuff up or what, but when you smoke weed, does it make you emotional? Like, I feel like some of these guys, I mean, like, I've seen a roller coaster. So, for instance, I don't know, this one guy, though, he did other stuff, too, I heard. After he left and was gone, his ex-wife, I don't know for sure if they're ex. She said she found cocaine. But anyways, I used to work with him at a grocery store. We used to stock produce. And I remember one time he was going to go outside. We were doing watermelon. We have to rotate watermelon. So if you don't know, watermelon on top is probably the stuff that's the old stuff. So we have to rotate it though, right? We have to bring, whatever, new stuff on the bottom, old stuff on the top, so that sells. And I remember he was going to go out. It's like break time. And he's like, Doopson, he's like, when we come back in, we'll stock watermelon. I'm like, okay. Now, mind you, I'm working for Affordable Door and Gate. I'm still doing Norton Shores DPW plowing part-time when they need me for, snow plowing and stuff like that. And, I worked with them for most of the night already, right? Things are pretty mellow. We're just kind of got our own little music stuff going. I don't know how we're doing it on their phones or whatever. I don't think we had earpieces or anything. And this dude comes in, and he's like, you ready to go, Doopson? Woo! And I'm just like, holy shit. And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. Let's go, man. I mean, he is just chucking these watermelons as fast as I can catch it. I'm just like, I find him like, Mr. G. I'm like, slow down. I'm like, dude, I make $8 an hour. I mean, I'm not saying I don't want to do my job, but man, like I got to work tomorrow too at Affordable Door and Gate. Like I need some, I can't, what is wrong with you, dude? And I've noticed it seems like one guy, he worked, we went up to a big job up in Traverse City, Michigan. And I remember he freaked out on me, and I knew he did it, but he was a really good. He always would talk about the universe, right? And he'd be like, Dave, he's like, don't put that into the universe, like I'd be driving up or something, like, I don't think this job's gonna go good. Oh man, he said, don't put that into the universe. And I remember we got up to this job. We had 6 guys. We were doing that big fire department job, the one we almost died on, in the truck and all that blizzard. And I got up there while he threw his shirt. He literally took his button shirt off. We had uniforms at the time, paid uniforms through the Affordable Door and Gate. And he took his shirt. And I remember I was up in the lift when I was working with another guy winding springs and stuff. And he took it. He just kind of chucked it on the ground. Like, man, it's too hot. Right on the ground. I mean, right on the ground. Not in a box. Not like, I mean, just chucked it on the ground. Like, I could care less about this thing. It's not mine. I don't pay for it. Throws it on the ground. So I'm up there, I'm hustling, right? I get done with this other guy. This other guy's on to his other thing. And I mean, we are trying to get this job done. Like I said, I think it was a 6-door job. We were trying to get done in one day. And I think we were rehooking openers. So, I mean, we're just powering through this. And mind you, we're 2 hours one way from the shop. So, I mean, this is a hell of an early morning. So I went down and I grabbed his shirt, right? Because I'm thinking, all right, well, Affordable pays for it. Our cleaning company that cleans it can get anything out. You can't put nothing on these that they can't get out. If they can't get it out, they'll give you a new one. And so I grabbed his shirt, man, and I start grabbing the old Windex or Mr. Clean, not Mr. Clean, but Purple Power probably or something, simple green, spraying the doors, right? Because we're not trying to be real elegant, right? We're just trying to get this stuff in. So I start spraying the doors out. I'm wiping the doors down, cleaning them. And I remember he's like, all of a sudden he's looking for a shirt. And he's like, where's my shirt? And I'm like, I looked over the lift, and I'm up in the scissors. I said, I got it, What? I mean, he just, comes unglued. What the hell? I said, you threw it on the ground? I said, dude, the Affordable pays. That's not the point. I wash my own shirts. I said, okay. I said, we'll send it into the cleaner. I said, they will clean it, so it'll be perfectly clean. I said, and then you can take it home and put it in your wash after it's already basically clean. I said, and you can wash it how you like. That's bull. And I mean, I'm sitting there like looking at the guy next to him, and I'm like, I'm just like in this like, is he being serious right now? Is he being serious? Like and he went outside. He must have did something, smoked one, whatever. Comes back in, he's just mellow. And I'm just like, whoa, man, this dude's emotions are like all over the place. Tanner says, Rich, he says, it's just Diddy now. I love it. What's Robert got? He says, how would you advertise if you was just starting a garage door business? I tell you what, if I was starting, good question. If I was just starting out, I'm very slow. I don't like to waste my money. So, honestly, if you can get stuff going on Google's a little more strict nowadays. But I really think, honestly, the banners. I really think the banners, the street signs you put on the corners, especially if you got townships that don't really care. Get them on the light poles, the telephone poles. And the best thing is too is like I said, you can always go and yank them and move them around like little billboards. But when the thing is when I go around town right now and I see those, I go, those are people in my brain, anyways. I go, those are people that are desperate for work. They want to work. So more likely they're going to call me back. They're going to show up or whatever. Maybe not on time, quite exactly. Whatever. There's, who knows what they are, small business. But I'm just saying, like, they're hungry. They're hungry. And my brain goes to they're local because obviously somebody got out of a vehicle or something and placed it right here. They're local. The number is local. So I like the bandit signs. That's my first one that I go to. Obviously business cards. It doesn't hurt to obviously get a few shirts. I know shirts can kind of start adding up in price. If you got a few family members, people love advertising for your business. If you give them some shirts too, especially make sure it's got like your number or something on it, website, whatever, if you want to do the website. At least a way they can take a picture nowadays, right? Because now at least you can kind of go, well, this one don't have nothing back, but you can go, hey, look, like just take a picture. And then you have their phone number or whatever. Because, you might not, your family members might not carry business cards to hand out. Maybe they will. Maybe someone will. When you go to the restaurants and that too, they always got those boards. You can always put stuff, pin them up on there, business cards, things like that. Like I said, I'm just kind of a slow guy. I know there's ways you can pay on Google. Like I said, I don't trust any of this other stuff. Facebook, there is ways to do it. You got to word it a little different. So what I've been trying to think about doing for some of you guys starting out is what I thought about doing to stir the pot a little bit was I thought about possibly buying a garage door opener from the box store, assemble it or whatever, and then market it as, here's an opener for sale, but then this is installed. And this is only for a certain radius, or it's only for Muskegon, or this certain county or whatever. Doing it that way, because see, the thing is, like, you gotta understand, like, Facebook sometimes too is a little bit funny. Like, they don't want you just unless you pay some kind of service, you can't put like a service on the marketplace. They want just stuff listed, right? Like a garage door for sale, a car for sale, a pedaling bike for sale. Like, they don't want you like, I just do installs. So you got to watch the verbiage on there. But I figured if I did that, because I keep getting once in a while, the beta test I've been doing with it, I get people that will contact me and they're like, okay, so how much? And I'm like, how much for what? Like, this is my service. And they'll be like, well, how much for, and I'm like, well, the garage door opener is probably like $200. So you're probably, $250, $300. And they're like, oh, like they don't, because there's just weird people on Facebook sometimes. They just don't process it where it's like, if you could say, here's the product, and also I install it, and basically you're only putting on whatever you want to put on, $20, $100, $200. You know what I mean? Maybe that would keep the algorithm at bay. I've heard some people say, one of the guys on here, on the channel will say something about I guess every morning they put stuff on Nextdoor, which I thought was not a bad idea. So they put something on every morning. They post something on Nextdoor. You can always do Craigslist. I've had a few things still through Craigslist, not garage door related, but people still use it. It's just another form. Some people, the beautiful thing about Craigslist, that maybe some people don't think about, which I didn't think about, is that you can stay anonymous, which is kind of nice. Because sometimes you put stuff on Facebook, they don't, whatever, it's not anonymous. You know what I mean? On Facebook or on Craigslist, it is. You know what I mean? Because the only way they contact you is either you put your number in or it comes through an email. So it's just sometimes some people still like using the old Craigslist. If you're good, word of mouth or Facebook is free. So Tanner says, do a flip, or he says, I'm out. Oh, Trump 2024. Can't say no to that. We'll see. We'll see if the system is rigged. Just as I enjoy, he says, but the job has made me hate people. Yeah. Tab says weed gets me in the zone of working mood. Well, like I said, I mean, I don't know. People. I guess in a way, I mean, people can be kind of challenging, but I think it's like. I forget if Dab is actually, if you're, I think it's worse. I think Tanner might agree a little bit. It's worse when you're the owner, right? Because so like, let me give you an example. We were doing a fence job, I remember, for ornamental fence. And this was brand new to me. Like I've never done an ornamental It's a 5 foot tall fence. It's for a cemetery. And I remember I think I hired 2 more guys as like grunt guys. Hey, we got 22 likes. Thank you guys for the likes. And just remember too, if you guys ever have any questions, whatever, you can always email me at the daveadubson@gmail.com. I typically put in the description below. I love those kind of things. Shoot me an email question, especially if I can make a video. If it's a personal, I will not share it. I typically still, even if you send me something, I don't share your personal. I might put your first name or something. But if I know it's talking about specific areas and certain things, I don't share that because I don't need your boss or whoever anything. We don't want nothing bad happening. But you can also just tell me this is personal, and I won't share it at all. I respect that kind of stuff. So anywho, but the cemetery job, right? We're working on. We're doing this fence job. I'm already nervous. I had to get a bond for this one. I had to get material. Was a nightmare. Just it was all screwed up. I ended up getting to this job, and I remember it was like these guys I'm working with, some of my seasoned guys, were kind of having a little bit of a grumpy attitude. They're like, we started hitting roots and spots that seem like there's no trees around. We shouldn't be hitting roots that are, like the size of this. And so I brought these other guys in as grunt helpers. And I remember they started making fun of them. And I'm like, you guys need to knock it off. Like, look, I'm like, would you rather dig? I mean, these guys just dug 8 holes. Would you rather dig all those? They're like, no. I'm like, then just let's not bash people here. You know what I mean? Like, let's just all get this done. Let's just work. And I think it's worse because when you're sitting there and you get somebody that's like, man, like this, I don't want to dig a hole. And it's like, for me, it's like I grab the postal diggers and I'm like, I'll dig the hole because the hole's the easy part. Like, you don't understand what all behind the scenes to make this job happen. The insurance, getting the material ordered. I had to get a bond for this job. I had to put up, $50,000 for all this fencing. Like, I want to get this job done so we can get paid. They only would give us, 20% down, and they're still going to have a 10% retainage for a year. Like, give me the damn postal diggers. You know what I mean? So sometimes, I think it's easier. Like I like it now, right? I like it because I like when the secretary or if Cap, the customers are easy, man. The business all behind the scenes. When your brain's doing this 100 miles an hour and you're sitting there, the customers, and you're sitting there going, I gotta get back to shop. I gotta get this loaded. I gotta call this person. I gotta call the attorney. I got this person that didn't pay. We got a building that has no roof on it. The material's getting, it can get really just so. It's not bad. It's not bad. Like I said, you just gotta learn. Like I said, I like the saying my mom always told me, right? She says, David, she says, if you're not happy with yourself, you won't be happy with others. Just a little piece of advice. And I tell you what, once you're happy and you're humble is very powerful. And that's something I learned it wasn't always. I don't even know how many years ago, but it's been a few years now. And once you learn to be happy with yourself, you can be happy with others. And you do understand that there's times that you can't fix all the world's problems. And you just have to know that, and you have to know that you did your best. And you get up every day, you try to do your best. You try to be nice. And there's going to be people that spit on you, that are disrespectful. And you know what? I'd hate to be them. You know what I mean? That's what you tell yourself. You just go, I hate to be them. I mean, that's the problems they got to live with. Obviously, something's so bad in their life that they got to be miserable to people else. I always like that thing. I remember I was going to steal it off the wall. Not really, but I wanted to. There was something, I couldn't even believe it. It was at I swear it was at a government building. And it said something about, it was like maybe a tree or something in the background, a field. And it just said, you might not be able to control the situation, but you could always control your attitude. I thought, wow. I thought that is really powerful. You may not be able to control the situation. You get into a car accident. You're breaking up with your girlfriend. You're getting divorced, whatever. You might not be able to control the situation, but you can always control your attitude. I tell my kids this every day, darn near, about how control this, because everybody's got this. Most people, not everybody. Most people. Got this, they got nose, they got eyes, they got cheeks, whatever, lips, ears, all these things, elbows. This is the most powerful thing, because what you start thinking about all the time is what you'll start producing, right? So if you're always thinking negative, if you're always thinking poverty mindset, if you're always thinking, whatever, you'll create it, right? I mean, it's like you think about it. For instance, here, right? This all right here, I created it. It was all just measuring tapes and stuff. Like I said, this was a steel building. This was just a barn. There was no floor in it, no electricity. I literally used to, every time I drove here, I always had to take a crap. I literally would have to come through this door. Now, this door was just a crappy little man door. And I'd have to find a bucket and take a crap in a bucket in a bag and have to go take the bag and put it in the garbage can. Every time I want to come out here. Like I said, there was no toilet. There was no running water, nothing. There used to be actually a water tank. I can't see it, but the bathroom right here. There used to be a water tank with a light bulb on it that I used to put with a generator to try to keep the water somewhat warm so it wouldn't freeze. So I had water here to like, just for whatever reasons, you know, not even really bathroom reasons, but to wash a vehicle or something. I used to plow this parking lot. Some of you guys have seen the parking lot. I used to plow that with a one stage, a single stage paddle. What was it? A Ranch King lawnmower. Be out there, snow blowing in my face. The neighbor guy over here that has a car dealership was staring at me. What the is this guy doing? You know what I mean? And then I tell you what, when I finally bought a plow truck, holy Mac Daddy, did I feel like the man. Being in a heated cab, you know, with a radio, with a plow, with a windshield. Hell yes, baby. You know. Greg, what's Greg? He says, hey, big shout out from Washington State. What's up, Washington State? This is my first year and appreciate your videos. Keep it up. Hey, man, I really appreciate that. Like I said, that's what I'm here for. So, like I said, I encourage you guys, you know, don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. Shoot me an email. Like I said, the Daveadubson@gmail.com is typically in the description below. If you got anything, shoot me an email. I love doing videos on them. I love talking about them. And like I said, I'm not here to bash anybody or anything. It's just sometimes there's things that are surface level to me most time, and then honestly, there's a lot of stuff that you guys bring up, and I go, "Ooh, I forgot about that. I can make a video. I might be able to help with this, or at least give you some insight on maybe what to do, what not to do." Because I've been through a lot of the ditches, and I'd rather you not have to go through the ditches. It's kind of one of those things. Like I've always respected older people, you know, on this planet, because I always look at it and go, man. I mean, even my my last grandpa, it's on my wife's side, you know, he's 96 years old, and I go, wow. I mean, he's sitting there telling me about how, you know, they had a wood stove and they had horses and they plowed, and I mean, I'm just like, you plowed with a single plow, and I mean, you had a wood stove in the center of the house, and you basically had wood floors that you could see the mice run through. I mean, with the cracks, and they didn't have power hooked up to their house, so he'd go out there and take 2 wires and touch them so they could listen to the radio, because his mom loved listening to the radio. I mean, whoa, you know. And I love that people, when they teach me stuff, you know what I mean, they say, hey, you know, there's a better way. I mean, all the time I get stuff in life where I'm just like, geez, Louise, man, I've been doing it like this for, you know, 41 years or whatever, you know, well, 20 or 30, whatever you want to call it, you know, something. And I'm just like, golly, that's so simple. Why didn't I think of that? You buy a tool that makes your life so much better. Greg says, Greg. Rich B says QR code shirts. Ooh, that's a good, I've been seeing more of that. I haven't really seen the shirts. I've been seeing, like, you know, on the trucks and stuff like that, other people. I just don't know how robust the QR codes are with, like, I worry with the shirts, they start breaking down. You know, I mean, it's not the end of the world, obviously, new shirt, whatever, right? I don't know how robust those things are. You know, it just seems like they're going to be one of those things that there's so many different ones, like, you know, somebody going to scan it, now they're over to, like, you know, they're into, like, you know, Girls Gone Wild. Oh, you know, I don't know. I just don't know how robust they are. I don't know much about them, honestly. I've used them a few times, you know, when I've looked up stuff. I mean, what's this one? Oh, it's actually Service Spring. Imagine that. Bam. There's one, right? Robert says, thanks for the time and ideas. Anytime. And like I said, it always helps me out. Like I said, if you got anything, email, shoot in the comments. It's always fun. Okay, so Peter says, how do you find a couple extra guys for one big job? So this is a great question, and I would love to hear anybody's input. And like I said, even if you don't think of it or you want to shoot me an email or something later on or whatever, because I tell you what, I still am not. I don't feel like how there's just some things you feel like I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. You know what I mean? This is one of those things though, and I've gone around a lot of. Let's just say me and my wife have kind of butt heads on this stuff before. So one guy I remember, right? So what I'm always doing, this is why I always tell my kids this, right? I always tell my kids, when you go out in public, it's like Hollywood. I think of like the presidents, right? When they always go up, they say a speech, right? We never see them pulling down their pants or doing something or how they pull up their underwear. So when you go out in public, right, you always need to be somewhat at your best, right? Dress halfway decent, don't look like a complete slob, things of that nature. Because so for me, I'm always a recruiter, right? So everywhere I go, I'm always recruiting. I'm always looking. Now here, I'm going to get a little off on this, but I think it might be good. For one, if you're looking for somebody, right, what I've learned is you maybe want to use like the box stores or something similar. It can even be a restaurant, whatever, right? And you can evaluate somebody from a distance. You can watch somebody. I had a lady before I hired our second secretary. There was a girl that was working at this restaurant, and she would walk out, and everybody knew her, and she was super nice, and she just really took good care of the customers, really good care. And I could tell she had a good heart. And I remember I finally had the nerve to ask her. I said, hey, come here. So you sit down. And she's sitting there, what's going on? This and that. And I said, hey, would you ever want to come, maybe work at, blah, blah, blah. And she says, well, actually I'm supposed to take over this business. And I'm like, oh, well, can't really do much with that one. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm glad you took the minutes. She was very generous that I, even sat down and, we had a talk about it. And, but what I'm getting at is like, so this one time I'm at a storage unit, right? This is even at a storage unit. And I'm using the storage unit for personal stuff. And I'm there, and I'm watching these two guys unload this. I could tell they're helping. I'm listening, right? Use your ears. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, these guys seem like, So finally, I walked up to the one guy because the customer, whoever they were working for, left. And I said, hey, do you guys, do like this? Like, oh, we just help people out. We just do it for, side money, blah blah blah. And I was like, oh, okay. So the biggest thing you got to do with most people in general across the world and life, what I've learned, because I've had this with just neighbors and grandparents that have neighbors, and we need communication, get their phone number. Because it's a beautiful thing nowadays, right? You can delete it. You don't have to keep it. If they start bugging you, doing something weird, sending you bad pictures, something, whatever, block that one. You know what I mean? Get rid of them. But get their number. So I got their number, right? So I get these numbers. There's another guy I think of. I forget how we came across. Oh, he was actually... I sold him a trailer. Kind of a funny story. He wanted an enclosed trailer, and he wanted a trade for a truck. And I needed a plow truck, another plow truck. I was going to upgrade into a better one, and so we did a trade. I think my trade was a little. I got the winning stick of it. He got the loser stick. But he calls me and he starts talking to me about this. He goes, I don't know if this was quite a fair trade. He likes to talk a lot. He's a good dude. He's fun. And I was like, I said, I kind of agree with you. I said, I think I did get a little better deal than you. But he was really hurting for an enclosed trailer or whatever. And so I think we ended up maybe, I don't even remember exactly how but we spurred off of that, right? So he started working. He's a really good, I really like working with him. Because he's a good problem solver. We work both good with each other. We're very compatible. Like, we'll sit there and it's like, whoa, this is a problem. And he'll be like, what if we do this? And I'm like, damn, that's a good idea. Why don't we do that? Like, and then there's stuff where he's like, man, I'm stuck, you know, and I'm like, let's do this. And he's like, shh, why didn't I think of that? So you just got to be out there, you know, don't be afraid to ask, you know, even if you come across like you think you might need somebody, like when you're cruising through the Home Depots or Lowe's or Menards or whatever, and you see somebody and you've been in there numerous, a couple times, 3 times, and you just watch the behavior of somebody. And this is why I'm always telling my kids, you know, people are watching you. You know, people are always watching you from a distance, from afar. People are watching you. You never know, right? That's why I always get a little irked sometimes when I go up to cashiers and stuff like that. And I'm thinking like they kind of got a raunchy attitude. And I want to tell them, say, you know, you're kind of missing out here because, you know, I'm recruiting. And if, you know, if you were slick Willie and you're good and you're nice and that, you might have a job. And you might have the next guy behind me or the next lady even behind me that's looking for somebody that goes, hey, do you like working here? And you're like, oh, it's okay. It pays the bills. It's whatever, blah, blah, you know, this. Well, here's a card, you know what I mean? And you might be jumping into something that's going to be paying you a couple dollars more, double, I don't know, you know what I mean? But that's why you got to always be on your best A game, you know what I mean, no matter what. So like I said, just always be looking around. You can always do stuff on like Facebook and stuff. I just like watching people from a distance and always getting them from that way a little bit versus like the whole Facebook and you just get some guy shows up and he's like, I'm here, and his eyes are all, you're like, oh man, I think you're drunk. uh, dun, 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 dun. Craig's guy says, exactly, says I worked 16 hours yesterday. He says 10 hours on the job and 6 hours ordering materials for a company. Oh man, it adds up, man. It's trust me, I know about 12, 14, 17 hour days. It adds up. That's right. Craig is like, he goes, digging the hole is the easy part. Yep. Yep. Once we get to the job, and it's like it's really hard to shift. Like I can see why they always say, you know, the owners always wear many different hats because it's amazing how you know you're in the front office and it's you're talking to the big wigs. You know, yes, sir, blah blah blah. We'll get it done for you. We'll take care of it. Blah 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 blah. And then you're going out, and then sometimes you're dealing with employees, and then it's like you're kind of turning into like, you know, what's up? You know what I mean? Like you turn back into this, and then it's like now you got to go see your vendor, and now it's like you're like they're sitting there telling you about this new product or this and that, and you're like, can we just get loaded? Like I gotta go. You know what I mean? Like I still got 6 hours a day that I gotta. You know that's why my saying always is the sun's going down. You know what I mean? I always tell a wife or I'd be like the sun's going down. I gotta get working. You know because the sun's going down. I felt like I was always chasing the sun. You know what I mean? Because when it gets dark, it gets a lot harder to work. Robert says, he says, another good one. He says, God will never give you more than you can handle. He says, I'm always telling myself that, and it helps to get through hard times. That's true. That is true. And sometimes you can make your own chaos too. So you got to kind of watch what you do and what you bring into your life, you know, because I'm still, like I said, I guess I'm kind of putting this out as a calling. Because if anybody ever comes across something, a video or something that kind of explains this, like please send it my way. Because I am so yearning to find. I've been telling the wife lately about it. I say it's the contractor. I don't know how to word it, but it's the contractor vortex. I think there's something to being a contractor that's almost deceiving in a way. If some of you guys, if this makes sense to any of you guys, and like I said, maybe hit like number 3 or something if this starts making sense. But I think there's something that's deceiving about being a contractor because you can really bust your ass. You know what I mean? Especially when you're in the trenches, you're doing the work, you're out in the field, you're doing the estimates. And I'm always looking because I feel like it's like you start making all this, you can make a lot of money. And that money can be deceiving, right? Because all of a sudden you're pulling in all this money, and then it's like, you know what? You know, it's time. Like we've been fixing this beater. You know, it's time for a new truck. So you get a new truck, and then it's like, you know what? We're you know, let's get that new scissor lift. Then let's get this. And it's like And then you can hit it a hard time too, right? And all of a sudden, holy crap, we got all these payments, we got all this stuff, we got to make payments, we got to, now I got to put full coverage on all this crap because it's brand new. And so I'm always looking for like a video to try to explain that a little bit of like, what is it that there is something to this contractor vortex, because I've experienced it. And I don't feel like I want to go down that rabbit hole again. You know what I mean? Like it's, I've had the 7 guys under me, I've had the 7 trucks, we've had a fleet, and it was like the one time when I learned that you can, so, we did the first time we hit what we do all the time now, but we hit over $1 million in sales, right? And I was just like, whoa, man, we did it. Like I'm looking at that number and I'm like, this is awesome. But then when I start looking down, and it's like, oh, there's like $30,000 of profit. Okay. Well, there's not $30,000 in my bank account. There's only like 16,000 in my bank account. So what the hell? And then it's like, oh, but you got to pay taxes on 30,000 because that's what the system shows. But what if these people don't pay me next year when it's oh, no, but you still got to pay it. Well, what if they, I mean, and it was like, I remember like all the trucks were, I was looking at, we had the Ford Rangers and stuff, and trucks, tires are worn out, windshields are bust out. Trucks got over 200,000 plus miles on them. And I'm like, huh. And so then the next year we scaled back. I forget how much we dropped. We dropped either, I don't know, it was like 200, 300,000 or something like that. And we actually almost doubled in profit. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Like, what are we doing? And then I started adding up. I'm going, okay, you're sending 2 guys in a truck going north. They're going an hour away, one way. 2 guys. They're going to go do a 16x7 or whatever. Really should be a 1 guy. Okay. We can't be doing all this running around. You know what I mean? And so when we started concentrating just for in town, things got way better. You know what I mean? The travel was what really was a killer. But because the thing is that everything you touch as a contractor, there's always something that's going to come back. A leaky roof, if you're a roofer, the flooring, the cabinetry, the garage doors, the openers, and then there's always this thing, right? I feel like there's a thing out there that anything that has more human interaction is almost more problematic. So I've had more troubles with man doors than man doors and garage doors are pretty much right up there. But with fencing, I hardly ever have any problem, except for if it's not surveyed and you're disputing with the neighbors, that becomes a problem. But otherwise, you put it up. Nobody talks about scratches and dents and kinks or whatever. As long as it keeps the bad guy out and it keeps Fluffy in, they're happy, Peter's got, so it's crazy how far we've gone in 100 years. It's says way shorter than it sounds. Dude, it's like, I'm kind of glad Peter brought that up because, when you think about it, it's amazing to think. Like I was just thinking the other day, I came across like a little, like a short video or whatever it was through YouTube. And it was, I think they were showing like the old computers back in like the early 2000s or 90s. And the way they booted up and the sound and that. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm part of that era too. That the first cell phone that I had was Nokia, the big block Nokia. And I mean, I just remember that was like, oh, revolutionary, and in short time, think about how much stuff has evolved, the technology, YouTube, everything, the TVs. And it's like, it's almost scary to think about what's another 10 or 20 years going to look like here for some of this stuff, because it's just getting so, it seems like it's speeding up faster in a sense. And I don't know if we're going to kind of hit like, I don't really need like another smartphone. They kind of all do the basic same stuff. We've kind of hit like a plateau, but there'll be something, right? Maybe you'll set it down. It'll put up the image for you. There's something going to happen. Crazy guy, he says, what is the best, easiest way to install a 12x14 commercial in a steel building? We installed a high lift in a steel building this past week. Talk about learning experience. A couple things I come to mind right away is we normally stack them kind of like, especially I'm assuming you had a reverse angle track. So it's it should be, what is it, 12? It's 12x14, so it should be 12-2 with the reverse angle for commercial. And then you got your the clip-on weather seal, whatever it is that clips on the track. That makes life easier. And then what we do is we don't anchor the hell out of it. Like when we're stacking the door, we'll stack the door. We'll get stuff level, get your track level. I use the laser because I'm lazy. Some guys use the levels and stuff. You can use whatever tape measures. And then I just pin it, so I don't put all the screws in. I think we will when we get up higher, but the bottom we typically don't, which is sometimes a little. You got to be a little careful that you don't forget about it, because once we get the door running, once we get those sections up, especially the bottom area, we got to go back and repin the bottom. So that, I mean, I was always hoping that I'd see a video, or maybe you guys even know of one, where like what I always wanted to do, which I'm surprised, like, is I was either gonna almost stick a string to it or something. But I feel like we should be in the era now that you can stand back, and I've seen like I've done this and it doesn't quite always work because I think the laser can be kicked. But you should be able to stand back, and if you start getting your verticals going up the wall, I feel like if you got your first one, the vertical, the big one, you should be able to set a laser on that and then run that all the way up to the ceiling, right? And that's everything you follow, especially when you got high lift, because high lift can get kind of squirrely on you, if you're not kind of familiar with it. And what I always want to do is I wanted to set up two lasers, two lasers on both sides and get a laser going up. So all you got to do is follow the track. We got to keep it right on the edge, and wada bing, wada boom. I just feel like there should be something that's way more dry cut instead of measuring or looking or sighting, or when you get the door up and running you got to readjust, because the problem is once you get your bearing brackets and everything tied in, that's kind of a problem to readjust, sometimes. And I used to struggle with it quite a bit. I don't feel like I had that problem. I don't know if it's more just because I'm more familiar with how the door feels, or I'm sighting down certain things. It doesn't seem to be too problematic, but I'm sure there'll be one out there that'll still get me. There you go. Dave says, thank you. Actually, he says, I need to be more thankful. Yeah, like I said, it's just a mind. Life is all about, really, it's a mind game. You know what I mean? It's just like in business, customers. Once you learn, it's like the Matrix. It's an algorithm. You know what I mean? It really becomes a lot easier where when you start looking and going, it's kind of like one that was always really hard for me was this one. This is why we got it, because we just started experiencing a lot of problems, with customers. And this was, I love this saying still, bad planning on your part does not constitute emergency on my part. That was kind of one of those things that once it kind of clicked in my brain, that I was just like, there's a lot of things that customers do that they call, especially, sometimes residential, and they're just like, oh my gosh, emergency. And it's like, okay. And what do they teach you pretty much? What do you see on YouTube University even? What do you see, right? When the officers come, when the first responders come, the fire department comes, the police, the ambulance, everything, don't panic. Don't panic. Okay, what's going on? You know what I mean? Okay, sounds like this. And then you start filtering out, right? You start kind of going like, well, we can get somebody out. Oh my gosh, settle down. This is not, we'll handle this. And like I said, when you get to a customer, even if they're whatever, this and that, you just go, like I said, there's a lot to be said about silence. You know what I mean? Just kind of let them do, that's why it was the whole, God gave you one mouth and 2 ears, so shut up and listen, right? So I just, okay, not a problem. We'll see what we can do to get you fixed up. Real mellow, you know what I mean? You just keep a real mellow tone. You just do your job, you know what I mean? Do the best that you can do. If you don't know, you ask somebody, ask questions, you just try to, we have to remember that we're problem solvers. That's what we are. Somebody called with a problem, we're there to provide a solution. You know what I mean? So they're, and you can persuade that stuff a lot, how you act and how you behave. And I was just at the one, I think, I won't say where in a sense, but I was at one, and this guy kind of turned me off right away. And I thought we were going to start, not like physically duking it out, but kind of verbally, because I thought, I know I got some years on him. And this guy is telling me stuff, and I'm just like, And I thought, what do I have to gain out of this? And I said, nothing. So I just kind of went, oh, when I started asking certain things, and things started like once we started kind of getting a mutual respect a little bit, we were back on the same page. But I could have been more aggressive about it, and I just thought, what do I got to gain? I was like, I got nothing. I'm doing this as like a courtesy. This is for your place, not mine, and I can hop back in my vehicle and I can say, have a nice day. You know what I mean? Good luck. Good luck, Chuck. And but like I said, it's just go into it. It's gonna be a good day. Um, just remember, you know, everybody should remember this. There's gonna be a day for all of us if we don't wake up the next day. So every day is a good day. That's why for me, I don't celebrate birthdays. At least for me, because that's long and gone. Today is a birthday. Actually, in about a few more minutes, it's going to be a birthday. It's going to be, instead of it being Thursday, it's going to be Friday for me. So it's another birthday for me. And I tell you what, I am thankful. I'm thankful I get to suck air. I'm glad I get to be here for my kids. I'm glad I get to be here for you guys. And you guys are here giving me all these good things and all these little nuggets and all these questions. And I really appreciate it. I really do. So every day is a good day to be alive, and to have your health is really important. Because you got to remember, even if you had $1 million and you were going to die the next day, do you think that $1 million really matters? No. No, you're going to want your health back. You know what I mean? You're going to be happy you got your health. You get to spend time with your family, your friends, girlfriend, boyfriend, anything. Your health is the most important thing. You know what I mean? So got your health. Who cares about the money, right? Money helps. Don't get me wrong. Money helps. It's nice to have. It's a good tool. We unfortunately got to have it to play the system that they keep devaluing our money, our hard work. But just remember, man, enjoy that sunshine when it hits you sometimes, What's a realistic salary or chunk of truck? He says, is it chunk? Oh, chunk of truck? He says, because here's a make. He says, and is fencing or doors harder? Let's see. What's up, Travis? It's been a minute. How you doing? Is that a fly? That's a fly. I thought, damn, that spider, he must have had a baby. Yeah, fly can stay. I don't mind flies. So that's a good one. That's cool. I see Travis Lee's been good. That's awesome. So what's realistically I don't know. I mean, if I thought about it starting out, I mean, realistically, it's 20, 30, 40, 50 is what realistically a salary, or a yearly income in a sense. It just all kind of depends. I guess, so this is kind of a good question, right, from Peter. So it's, this is just from my experience. You got to remember, it's kind of one of those things like dollar figures kind of matter, right? So if you're dealing with, like, I mean, think about it, like, this is the way I always think weird. I'm weird. Think about you're trying to provide a service, right? This is really goofy, but you're trying to provide a service for installing light bulbs, right? And you go around and you tell people, you go, hey, and I know these aren't the right light bulbs, but you go, hey, I'll change your light bulb. I'll change your light bulb for $60. And somebody's like, $60? I ain't gonna have you change my freaking light bulb for $60. Are you out of your mind? You know what I mean? You're like, well, but I gotta pay for insurance. I got a truck. I got my time. I gotta get a ladder. I gotta get the light bulb. I had to go to the Home Depot store. I had to, I had like it's $60. I'm not even really making that much money. So you're dealing with a very small price tag, right? That people seem to compute. That's why I'm always kind of like with the garage door openers. Sometimes it's kind of hard with the garage door openers because you got the box stores that these people go into, and they're like, you know what I mean? They see them all day for 175, 200, 250, 300. And so when you come in and you're like, oh, a new opener is going to be, it's going to be $600, $800, $1,200. And they're like, And what do I get with this service? And you can butter it up different ways. You can say, well, I'll give you a year warranty. You don't have to worry about it. Some people like that. Some people don't. All demographics all change. But what I like I said, is what I've noticed is, like I said, the human interaction. The more there's human interaction, the more problematic stuff is. And the problem is a lot of this stuff too is getting to be very electronic. That's the problem with like the garage door openers. That's why I say right now, I typically probably use the box doors for the residential stuff, because you can throw it back in the box. They don't care. They don't give you a bunch of flack. You don't have to send it back on a semi truck or UPS it, whatever. You just go back to the store and go, damn thing don't work. I want my money back. And they go, okay. And they give it to you, or you get another one. But like with the fencing, a fencing job is probably going to be maybe 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000. You're dealing with a bigger number. And like I said, it's something that they don't micromanage minute it. You know what I mean? Like whoever walks along a fence and goes, oh, this has got a little bit of rust starting on it, but a garage door, you're going to see it, right? Because every day the homeowner is pulling up, and what are they looking at? They're looking at their garage door. The paint's peeling, the paint's fading. There's rust on it. They said this has a lifetime warranty. I'm going to call the guy out. He needs to come fix this. It's got a dent. There's just more complexity to it, like I said, with the human. So it's just something I just try to do to open up your eyes a little bit. Garage door is the problem with garage doors sometimes too. Is I've had a lot of damaged garage door sections. You know what I mean? And it comes into, scratched, the AMAR. We all know the AMAR. AMAR one comes in horribly all the time, but damaged all the time. I mean, it was damn near every time they sent me a garage door, I said, you need to send me a bottle of paint. You know what I mean? They were that bad. We were just going through so much paint. The paint would get bad in the trucks or something happened to it, spill, leak, whatever. And I really wanted to give the bottle to the customer. Every garage door I did, I wanted to give the customer. Because sometimes I did. I had to touch up a little bit. And it was like, here, take this bottle of touch-up paint. If you find anything, please don't call me. Please don't call me because I'm really busy. So please just take care of it. Here's my offering of a little bottle of touch-up paint. If you see it, it's all yours. It's all yours. You can do whatever you want with it. If you want to use to paint your nails, I don't care. So there's things like that. You know what I mean? But yeah. So Travis even says, he says fencing is harder. It is. It's more manual, but it's more manual. Normally, labor is more money. You know what I mean? And like I said, it is labor, but I like it because, like I said, for me, I don't know, out of hundreds of fence I've done, I probably, nothing over these two hands forever callbacks. I don't even think one hand. I think of 2 or 3 or 4 different callbacks. And I was like, they wanted a post moved to another post because I left a little opening for like somebody to squeeze through. And they were like, can you move that post over? Like, we don't want somebody. And I'm like, well, we're technically on somebody else's property line, but as long as the homeowner don't complain, who cares? So I move it over, put a little couple chunks of fence on it, and away we go. But for the most part, there's ways to combat it. Like I said, the other one too, the only big one I had was that's why I don't like residential though. It's not. It's just you better be sure because you know how it is. Residential, you're dealing with the homeowner next door, and if they don't like it, blah blah. That's the problem. So, like I said, it's all a turn up. That's why maybe you do both or something. You got openers as a little filler. You do fencing or something too, or something like that, just to keep the the pipeline full. Do 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 do. Hello, I've been good. That's awesome. Travis Robert says, just want to thank you for your words of wisdom and your time. Have a great night. Thanks, Robert. I hope you have a great night too. That's right, Rich. Rich knows. He says tomorrows are never guaranteed. We never know, man. We might not wake up. Somebody might not wake up. I might not wake up. You never know. Fencing is harder. He says, I hate digging holes. Travis says, so Travis, I agree with you, man. I literally, it's kind of funny. I had to dig a hole. We were up at the trailer, the hunting shack, and I had to dig a hole, way to put a pipe. We had a tree. The tree used to be there, hold up our power line to go to the trailer. And not the main one coming from the road, but our secondary one going out. And cut the tree down. So I notched it out, got that wire that's been hanging for a while, right? So we finally dug a pole, or put a metal pole in just to hang it, so it's not draping down, hitting vehicles cruising through. And man, I haven't dug a hole myself in quite a long time because must be a neighbor's car honking. I paused for a second. I thought maybe it was mine. Must be the boogeyman. But what it was is because when I was doing when I've done the fencing's actually got better profit. So that made it so I could afford to buy a skid steer. And then when I had the skid steer, I ended up buying an auger. So you know what I'm saying? Like when you kind of get into that stuff, but you know how it is. Bigger toys, bigger problems. You know what I mean? So luckily the skid steer's been good. It's never had any issues, no major breakdowns. And I bought a brand new auger. So I don't dig holes. I do a few, you know what I mean? But we pound. We also pound. We got a pounder, pounds them in. Digging is hard. Digging is hard. My back is not as young as it used to be. So I agree, though. I hate digging holes too. But if you get the right tools, it's really not too bad. Skid steer is a big one. Move the material around, the fabric, all that kind of stuff. They actually make some really nice attachments. I wish some of them run. You can buy some more inexpensive ones, but the really nice attachments are like $2,000 to $4,000. And then you can just run along the whole fence line, and it just drapes out like just like a paper towel holder. They work slick, but you got to have the room. You got to have that piece of equipment, which is, I still haven't said, that's worth biting the bullet off, because we kind of get into them, but it's hard sometimes because we don't have a lot of manpower. So we don't really try to chase. And then if sometimes you got to kind of got to follow certain people and go a ways away to do some of the bigger jobs. So we just stick with, our local ones. And then when a commercial one wants something for, I think the last one, what I do, it was a 450 foot, something 500 foot fence line. That's about we like those, Peter says, I mean, business harder. He says, not physical. Sorry. He says, for the confusion, Travis, he says, it's kind of, so like, here's kind of like a thought process I have a little bit. So when the co in the vid in the 1.9 was around, right? The cough, this got a little hairy, right? Kind of irritated me. So for one, the garage doors, right? The garage doors, they would send us like a window section. And hey, we got 23 likes. Thanks to you guys for hitting the like button. It's been fun tonight, that's for sure. So the garage doors, right? They send us a window section. And we're like, okay, where's the rest of the garage door? We ordered a complete door. Ooh. But then they like send us a bill for like the whole door. And we're like, but we only got the window section. And they take a week or two to come in, right? So that had its own problems. And then our fencing vendor started by not telling us what they were sending or not sending. So they would tell us a job has been, it's being processed. We're sending it out. So XYZ job is coming your way next Tuesday in the afternoon. The truck should be there. Yabbity-doo, Scooby-Doo. All right, let's go. The truck would show up. That burned me one time. I learned my lesson. I had 3 guys. I recruited 3 guys. It was a bigger fence job. We needed the manpower to help unload the truck. We needed the manpower to take this material to the job site, all this stuff. And we were planning on that day. The skid steer's ready to go. We're ready. I think we had concrete on the job site to mix or whatever we're doing. And the guy shows up. We unload. And I'm like, where's the poles? Oh, they didn't make it. He says they pulled them, or they went to another job, or they didn't have them, didn't have enough. And I'm like, so you brought us all this fencing stuff, top rail, fabric, brackets, hardware, and we got no poles to put in the ground? I mean, like, at least if you would have brought us the poles, we could get the poles in the ground, let those harden in concrete, and, if you wouldn't have brought me top rail, that'd be a different story. So it was like, now who the hell is in control of this? So this became a very common across a lot of vendors, that now you turned into a this property was full of product. I mean, you'd walk around here, it'd almost make you cry, you know what I mean? Because there was so much damn product on this property that you're walking around, and I mean, you're like walking around with a clipboard, and you're like, what's this job for? That job still doesn't have this. Jesus. What's this job for? That job's missing this. So you can't. So here we are sitting, like I said, we got all this fencing material spread out here at the shop. $50,000+ of material sitting here. You can't go install it because you ain't got no poles. They don't know when they're gonna ship the next, so now do you go out and get them? Do you, what do you do? You know what I mean? And now you got a bill coming that's due that you can't even get to the customer to pay the invoice because you got material sitting. And this place was a freaking storage unit. It was horrible. So it just all it just all depends, you know what I mean? Depending on what the economy is. But the fencing, I don't know. It depends. If you're doing chuck in a truck, probably garage doors, you know what I mean? Do openers and stuff like that. Stay small, keep it all. The fencing, if you got a couple good guys, really, I mean, I'd say you need 3 guys total. Sometimes I did the 450. No, I had a couple guys come out when they were free. They helped me, but I was out there most of the time doing it by myself. Once you got the right tools and you watch like that video I did of how to make I think I put it as easy money. It's not that bad. 6 foot. I only do 6 foot though. If you go 7 foot, you better get a helper. But I learned it from a guy in Colorado. He was a super generous guy. He showed me a lot of tricks, and I don't know. You're just out there. You put your sun hat on. You got the music. And, even Cap was saying, he said, what's nice about fencing? He goes, nobody bothers you. And I was like, yeah, that's true. You're out in the breeze. You got the wind blowing. I mean, it can be hot. I mean, it's hard work. Don't get me wrong. It's sweating and this and that, but it's like you're just out in your own little world. It's like doing if you kind of like farm. Like I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be a farmer. I just never had. Family wasn't ever in the farm. I just never had. Like the equipment or whatever. I don't know. The knowledge maybe. Fencing reminds me of farming. Like you're just out there dealing with the agricultural. You know what I mean? I just like it. I like that I can just listen to what I want. The breeze, the wind, you can walk over to the truck, where like when you're working in a, like even the commercial, even though I like our commercial when you're doing doors. Doors is like, you always got somebody, wheeling around you in a forklift or a scissor lift, or the guy's up in the lift yelling at you, he needs something, and you're down there, you're building stuff. You can't just like zone out. You know what I mean? Where like when I get on the fencing, I can just zone out. I'm just sitting there like, I wonder what I'll do tonight. Maybe I'll cook me a steak on the grill. Do my own thing. You know what? I think I'm going to call it quits here. Where garage doors, you typically can't just kind of, putter out mid through the door. You know what I mean? It's like you're like, I got to get this done. Holy crap, the clock is ticking, man. It's already 6 o'clock at night. I got to get this stacked up. I told them I get the opener running. I don't want to come back tomorrow because tomorrow, they're supposed to be parking stuff in here, or they're getting the floor finished, or they're getting drywall done. It just seems like it's more chaos. You're in a concentrated area where fencing, not to say it doesn't have sometimes glitches like that too, but some of the stuff I do, I just like it. Something to think about. Physical, sorry, says Travis. Yeah, he says, oh yeah, gotcha. He says, night, Uncle Dave. See you, Travis. Dab says, what is it? We sell, is it Regal? What's Regal? Is that, I don't know what Regal is on there. But anyway, like I said, it's pretty much nighttime. If you guys got anything you want to throw in there, go for it. Otherwise, like I said, I got a few more minutes and I'll cut out of here. Let everybody head off. I really appreciate everybody hitting the like button, and I really appreciate you guys being here. And like I said, don't forget, if you got anything, hit me up at the Daveadubson@gmail.com. Shoot me an email. Even if you think it's really minute, but if you don't know, you don't know. And you won't know unless you ask. So it's always better just to ask. And I have no problem. Like I said, if it's something real small, I don't mind. I'll shoot an email back. Just remember, too, I should put it out there. Sometimes I don't get back to the emails just because I'm busy or whatever. A lot of times I read them. And then sometimes what I'll do is if it's going to be one I'm going to make a video, I'm kind of processing it. So I actually have some people, I just messaged the guy back. It's been like 2 days later. The one that I just did for the video for the 8300 to the 8500. I finally just shot him back a reply with the video. So just be mindful that if you're kind of like, gosh, I sent him something, he never got back to me. I mean, sometimes it can be a little time, but if it's probably like over a week, you probably should shoot me another one and say, hey, did you see my last? Because I do get, sometimes I get, I've gotten spam. I get these ones where I'm like, I kind of am on the fence. Like they want me to advertise or promote something or try their products. And I'm kind of like, this seems a little fishy, and I won't even respond, where I'm like, I don't know if this person's human or what this is, so I'm always kind of like, I just push them until they sound human, and then I'll interact with them. But I know that's not most of you guys. But like I said, there is occasions where something slips through. Because what I gotta do is I eventually gotta get the whole Zillow. Zillow blows up my email, and so sometimes they can get buried where I'll scroll through my phone and I'm like, oh, there's an email, and then it's like, oh, there's Zillow, and it just blends right on in with the stuff. You know what I mean? So I just use caution, I guess. But anywho, I'm getting out of here. I hope you guys have a good Friday. Hell yeah. There we go. Here's the weekend, baby. So cheers to the weekend. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you have a good Friday. Be safe out there. And we'll talk to you on the next one. See you later. Thanks, Peter. We'll see ya. Thanks, Rich. And Tanner. Tanner's probably sleeping by now. He's got work. He's a workaholic, man. We'll see you guys. And all the rest of you guys. Travis. All that Travis out. And Dab. And Rob. Craig. We got Craig on there. Rich. I think I said Rich. We'll see you guys.